It's high school playoff football. A doubleheader today indoors at Reliance Stadium. First up, it's a 4A Division II state semifinal between the Brenham Cubs, 13-1, against the Sand Crabs from Port Lavaca, Calhoun, also 13-1 on the season. Hello everyone, with Jeff Power, I'm Brett Dolan. Great to have you with us today for some high school football. Couple of games here in Houston. The winners know they get to advance next week to play at Arlington. And Jeff, as we talk about these two teams, both have been sneaking by, getting some small wins until last week when they flexed their muscles.
Yeah, a big 24-point win over Alamo Heights for the Sand Crabs, and that was a game where Hunter Bourne has kind of really stood out and been much more impressive. And this is a ground attack that is very impressive, to say the least. They like to run it. It's a flex bone offensive style. Their quarterback's got 1,616 yards rushing. Corey Williams with 2,160 yards rushing, and there's the quarterback right there. So it's all about being under center, old school type of football for the Sand Crabs. Probably the one Achilles heel from them has been their defense. It hasn't been as sharp. They've been blown out as far as one game earlier this year against Cal Allen, where they gave up 48 points. They gave up 55 points in a win earlier this year against Victoria West. So back and forth.
Yeah, as far as Brenham's concerned, a big win last week. They blew out a George Ranch team that had been undefeated. And while Port Lavaca likes to run, Brenham much more balanced, and they found something in these last couple of weeks.
Well, they found a good quarterback in Caleb Hill for one. 9 of his 19 touchdown passes have come in the second half. He's been very impressive. The other quarterback here, you see him taking it into the end zone. That is Walter Thomas scoring. Walter was the kind of the go-to man early on in the year for Brenham, and he can throw it, he can run it, but this is a mixed, balanced attack for the Cubs, and they've been very impressive in the postseason as well. The win over Texas City by 3 points was huge in itself, but then they had a big win last week where they kind of like the same situation with Port Lavaca, double-digit victory, 26 points, and that's what's been impressive. Both these teams coming off big wins.
Fun matchup with these two very different styles.
Absolutely.
Our next segment, we're going to talk with the coaches. Jay Darnielle will join us. First up will be Port Lavaca coach Richard Whitaker. That'll come your way next, right here on the Legacy Sports Network.
That was quick.
This was you. You've been trying to get me to eat egg whites for years. You went and talked to McDonald's?
Oh, an Egg White Delight McMuffin.
Oh, I knew it.
The new Egg White Delight McMuffin. Freshly grilled egg whites and creamy white cheddar. Also available on any of your favorites. It's another new way to love McDonald's.
This is good.
Yeah, it's better than good.
Do you remember my latte?
Oh, yeah. But it's in the car.
That's good.
Car buying has never been easier in booming Port Lavaca. Just go to ptlavaca.com and get the lowest price on hundreds of in-stock vehicles. We discount them more than anyone else, and the pink plates you see all over town prove it. It's insanity! Think pink pricing like 12 grand off all 2013 Rams, 12 grand off F-150s, and 14 grand off Silverados. Bring us your offer. Guaranteed lowest pricing on all models at ptlavaca.com. Think pink at ptlavaca.com.
Jay Darnielle here for more of the pregame show brought to you by McDonald's. We're now joined by Port Lavaca Calhoun, the Sand Crabs head coach and athletic director, Richard Whitaker. Coach, it's not really a surprise you've been here at this point right now in the playoffs. You have a really experienced offense. Talk about who leads that offense.
Well, it all starts up front. When you run the ball like we do, it's got to start with the front five, and those guys have played very well. Bobby Lamone, Brian Chichula, Devin Jensen, Adriel Cordova, and George Rios. Those youngsters have all played very well throughout the playoffs. But in the backfield, obviously, when you're running the option, the trigger guy, the quarterback, Hunter Bourne, is very important for us. He's got to be able to put the ball in the right hands, make decisions very quickly. And the guy we like to feed the most is Corey Williams. He's been our biggest back all year long, over 2,000 yards rushing. And, if we can get him established, we may have a chance.
Coach, earlier in the playoffs on 4th and 10, you ran the ball. Talk a little bit about your run first, run second, run third, and then run fourth offense mentality.
Well, that's our game. We believe in the option. We believe there's no down or distance that we can't get. Every down we're trying to score. So we have some plays that we think is a little bit more explosive than others, and sometimes in certain situations we'll pull them out of the hat. But we're not objective to throwing the football, but we'd much rather run it.
Defensively, what's kind of your game plan going in, and are you changing anything to try to stop this Brenham offense?
Well, Brenham's got such great athletes. I tell you, they're going to outsize us. They're going to outrun us. So the biggest thing for us is keep those guys in front of us and not give up the big play. And we've got to get some pressure on the quarterback. One thing that they do, though, that is they have an outstanding running back that we're very concerned about. It's so hard to try to get pressure on the quarterback and defend the pass and watch the running back in the backfield. You know, they're a good offense, and you know, we're going to have to play real sound defense.
Coach, we appreciate the time here before the ball game. Good luck, and hopefully your Sandcrab fans will be there next week for a state title game.
We hope so. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Glenn West, the head coach of the Brenham Cubs, here on Fox Sports Southwest.
The time is now for live video highlights of your school's march to excellence.
News sets up inside of the pitch. High fly to left. It's up, it's deep, and it's going to be gone!
Legacy Sports Network brings you high-quality HD video broadcasted by the best in the business.
Handoff, Adam Taylor lunges to the end zone, touchdown!
This is one of the most exciting things.
With all the runs, hits, scores, and more, we're building a legacy one game at a time.
I appreciate it, Gerald. You guys at Legacy do an unbelievable job.
Join us on pay-per-view or video live streaming your favorite high school and college athletics at LegacySportsNetwork.com.
Legacy Sports Network is going to be bringing this presentation to your home.
That was quick.
This was you. You've been trying to get me to eat egg whites for years. You went and talked to McDonald's?
Oh, an egg white delight McMuffin.
Oh, I knew it.
The new Egg White Delight McMuffin. Freshly grilled egg whites and creamy white cheddar. Also available on any of your favorites. It's another new way to love McDonald's.
This is good.
Yeah, it's better than good.
Do you remember my latte?
Oh, yeah, but it's in the car.
That's good.
There's more than just ice cream in a carton of Bluebell. Picnics and birthdays and welcome home signs. Over 100 years of fond childhood memories. Clear country mornings and a summer sunrise. One taste and you can't help but wonder how Bluebell gets so many good things in a carton that size.
Jay Darnell back here for more of the pregame show, brought to you by McDonald's. Now joined by the head coach of the Brenham Cubs, Coach Glenn West. Coach, you have a very, very athletic ball club, and defensively, your mindset coming here against the Sandcrabs, they run, run, run. Do you plan on really stacking the box and forcing them to throw that ball?
Well, we just have to do what we have to do to win the game, and they're very talented. They got a lot of respect for what they do. I think they're leading the nation in rushing, so we just hope to slow them down. I think you're not going to stop them. You just got to get after them and hope you can slow them down.
Well, talk about slowing you down a little bit, too. You have athletes all over the field, and then your leader at quarterback, Caleb Hill. Talk about what he's meant to your team, especially this hot streak that he's on right now.
I need you to come stay with me the night before the game. You'll make me feel better. I don't know if we have all those athletes, but we have a bunch of kids that work hard and have fun, and we're just happy to be here. We really are. I don't want to talk about anybody individually. Our kids work really hard as a team, and we're proud of them, and we're proud for all the things that they do.
Well, talk about the Brenham Cub Nation here at the ball game tonight, or to this afternoon, I'm sorry. A lot of support from the city of Brenham. How does that influence your team?
Well, it's always, you know, playoffs are fun. High school football is a lot of fun. And your town gets excited, gets in it, and it's great for your kids. And you all get to be a hero a little bit when you're 17, 18 years old. And it's a lot of fun to be a part of that.
Coach, we appreciate the time here for the ball game, and hopefully we'll see you next week at the AT&T Stadium.
We'll worry about that next week, but thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be back up in the booth here on Fox Sports Southwest.
Has never been easier in booming Port Lavaca. Just go to PTLavaca.com and get the lowest price on hundreds of in-stock vehicles. We discount them more than anyone else, and the pink plates you see all over town prove it. It's insanity! Think pink pricing like 12 grand off all 2013 Rams, 12 grand off F-150s, and 14 grand off Silverados. Bring us your offer. Guaranteed lowest pricing on all models at PTLavaca.com. Think pink at PTLavaca.com.
That was quick.
This was you. You've been trying to get me to eat egg whites for years. You went and talked to McDonald's?
Oh, an egg white delight McMuffin.
Oh, I knew it.
The new Egg White Delight McMuffin. Freshly grilled egg whites and creamy white cheddar. Also available on any of your favorites. It's another new way to love McDonald's.
This is good.
Yeah, it's better than good.
Do you remember my last time?
Oh, yeah, but it's in the car.
That's good.
There's more than just ice cream in a carton of Bluebell. Picnics and birthdays and welcome home signs. Over 100 years of fond childhood memories. Clear country mornings and a summer sunrise. One taste and you can't help but wonder how Bluebell gets so many good things in a carton that size.
The time is now for live video highlights of your school's march to excellence.
News sets up inside of the pitch. High fly to left. It's up. It's deep. And it's going to be gone.
Legacy Sports Network brings you high-quality HD video broadcasted by the best in the business.
Handoff, Adam Taylor lunges to the end zone, touchdown.
This is one of the most exciting things.
With all the runs, hits, scores, and more, we're building a legacy one game at a time.
I appreciate it, Gerald. You guys at Legacy do an unbelievable job.
Join us on pay-per-view or video live streaming your favorite high school and college athletics at legacysportsnetwork.com.
Legacy Sports Network is going to be bringing this presentation to your home.
Back inside Reliance Stadium. Our broadcast is driven by Port Lavaca Auto Group. What a deal. Our title sponsor here for Game 1. The Port Lavaca Calhoun Sand Crabs and the Brenham Cubs. One of two contests here indoors on the turf at Reliance Stadium. Captains out at midfield. Our referee today is Mike Young. And the Sand Crabs will get the football first. And Jeff, what a huge gathering across the way from San Antonio, almost as if the entire community is here to support the Sand Crabs. And let's take a look at our team comparison because there's some eye-popping numbers.
Yeah, the 639-point score by Port Lavaca Calhoun against Brenham's 547. You would think with a team running the ball as much as Port Lavaca Calhoun, they wouldn't have that kind of point total, but they've definitely been putting the points on the board. You look at the rushing yardage, too. They averaged 312 yards per game, 6,186 for the season. Of course, just 667 yards passing. As for Brenham, though, there's your mix. 3,092 rushing yards, 2,404 passing for a total of almost 5,500 yards. So good balance for Brenham. But they, that points allowed, big difference right there with Brenham only giving up 237 and Port Lavaca Calhoun giving up 363. As we mentioned earlier, giving up the 44 points against Cal Allen earlier in the season and also 55 in a game against Victoria East. So needless to say, we'll see which one of these teams shows up today, but no question, this is the chance of a lifetime for both squads. Their fans are here. They're fired up and ready to go.
Two 13-1 teams playing their best football of the season, and the Sand Crabs will get it first. It's a short kick angled towards the sideline. Elijah Velasquez will step out across the 20. And our kickoff sponsor today is Russell Kane Real Estate. Come for a weekend, stay for a lifetime. So we'll see this powerful run-oriented offense right out of the gates with their quarterback Hunter Bourne and signature running back Corey Williams.
Yeah, it's a flex bone style. You might have seen it with Georgia Southern when they never passed against Florida and beat them earlier this year. It's the same type of offense. Under the center, it is old school.
And the first play from scrimmage, blown dead, procedure.
Nerves usually a factor in the early going, especially when you've got a state championship berth on the line.
Number 79, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Yeah, so there you go, the illegal procedure, 5 yards marked off. And again, early going, nerves could be a bit of a factor. We'll see as it plays out throughout the first quarter.
Oftentimes these run-oriented teams don't like to get off schedule with 1st and 15s, 1st and 20s. We'll see if it affects the Sand Crabs here in the opening play. And the option was bobbled and pitched. Smithwick. Nice open field tackle on the boundary. Dropped on the corner. It was Dion Earls, one of the corners, who made a nice stop after a gain of about 7.
And you see the Sand Crabs there, led by his passing with his rushing, but also Jacorius Williams with 2,160 yards rushing. Cameron Borm also very impressive. So it is about Hunter Burm, though, as far as his ability to run the football.
Saw that option on the first play from scrimmage. Facing a 2nd and 8 now from the 23. Almost a fling in the direction of Velasquez, and that play got strung out and he was dropped. It was Desmond Lockett, a talented corner. We'll be calling his name several times today, and a good job in pursuit on these opening couple of plays by the Brenham defense.
Yeah, the Brenham Cubs led by Desmond Lockett. He has been sensational as a senior. You see their starting lineup with Wilson, Sutton, and Holman, also at defensive back. Nunn, Yeager, Smith, your linebackers, and that defensive front with Shepard, Baird, Adams, and Robbins. They're big. They can play football.
Port Lavaca, this team that has set a school record for wins, 13 already this season, facing a 3rd and 11 here on their opening drive. And again, this is not a passing team. A couple of receivers flex to the left. They'll run that same option play again. And the pitch goes to Williams. And Williams is dropped. And Desmond Lockett, a couple of huge plays in the opening series for the Cubs defense.
Yeah, Desmond Lockett has been Johnny on the spot so far in this game. It's like he's just in that backfield reading the plays in no time. And that's what it takes. When you have a team that runs the ball as often as the Sand Crabs will, those linebackers can kind of pin their ears back and head towards the man with the ball. And there you see him bringing down Corey Williams.
And Lockett will drop back to return this punt from Corey Williams. So the two parties involved in the last play will do it again here on a 4th and 11.
You don't see that very often, do you?
4A football.
Two-way
players.
Plays running back and a punter.
It's a short kick. Lockett gets out of the way, and the football will take a secondary bounce. See if that was touched at the 45 or whether it'll continue to roll inside the 45.
And the keys here for the Cubs, Caleb Hill. He has been impressive, 2,082 yards passing, 18 touchdowns. Ernest Patterson, one of his key receivers. You can see the 2,211 yards rushing, I should say. And James Holman, one of the key receivers, with over 800 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns.
2 weeks ago in their win against Texas City, when the Cubs were trailing 21-10 in the 3rd quarter, Holman caught 11 passes. That's when this offense, this passing game from Caleb Hill really started to click. And they found it last week against George Ranch. 3 long touchdown passes in the 1st quarter to build a lead they never relinquished.
Yeah, that was their coming out party. I mean, to beat George Ranch by 29, that was not seen. The previous games, they won by 5, 1, and 3 points.
Ernest Patterson, their featured back, will start. Patterson with some speed to the corner. Patterson bumped out of bounds at the 22.
Yeah, Ernest Patterson, he is a junior, only 5'6", but he's got that great burst of speed. Watch as he gets to the outside, follows his lead block. Great block right there on number 42. And then he takes it to the outside, picking up some outstanding yardage. That's what you want to see on 1st down. Get fired up, get this team going, get your crowd into it.
Patterson, a couple of weeks ago, they thought he was going to set the all-time Brenham single-season rushing record. 2 very low output games. But with that gain, he's only 64 yards away from the all-time school record in the course of a season. And once again, it's Patterson. And this time the Sand Crabs pursue and drop the talented running back. The first man there was the linebacker Dakota Ring. We'll call his name all day. Leads this team in tackles, 127 on the season.
And there's the Brenham Cubs offense. You see Caleb Hill, then Ernest Patterson at the running back position, Jordan Graves. Your wide receivers, Tyler Watts, James Holman, Cortland Sutton. And then there's your line with Arnold, Robbins, Whitley, Mathis, and Schlotman.
There's a loss of 1 for Patterson in the previous play, so the Cubs approaching the Sand Crabs red zone, facing a 2nd and 11. See if they go to the air. And the left-handed quarterback goes up top. His pass to the boundary is caught. It's Tyler Watts, bumped out of bounds right after the catch for a short gain.
Yeah, Tyler Watts coming out of the backfield and getting open, and he had some room to run there, but couldn't quite stay in bounds. Here's the Port Lavaca Calhoun defense led by Jones, Garcia, Lee, Hudson, And then your linebackers, Waymeyer, Ring, Blinka, and then the line, Mendoza, Robinson, Cesares, and Romero.
Now, as you watch Caleb Hill today in passing downs, and this may be on 3rd and 5, he is a left-handed quarterback with a long release but a quick release. Sometimes those two don't go hand in hand. We'll see if he goes to the air here on a 3rd and 5. Low snap, Hill quickly gets rid of the football, fades towards the corner, and it's just out of the reach of Trevante Johnson. He had to step.
But the problem was Trevante Johnson got tripped up when the play started, and I don't know if we'll see it here on the replay, but when Johnson was coming off the line, he kind of took a bad step there, maybe caught his foot, and then had to catch up. It's a timing pattern. You definitely want to get that ball into a certain spot, and it was thrown before he had actually slipped. So that ends up costing him a possible touchdown opportunity and brings up 4th down.
Now the kicker for the Cubs, Tien Pham, has made just 2 field goals all season. It looked like the Cubs were going to go for it, and now they'll bring on a different unit. And Pham, again, who's made just 2 all year, will try this one from 33 to start the scoring. Quick snap and a fake. Wide open is Holman. Where did he come from? He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Brenham. What a play.
James Holman was wide open. Nobody picked him up. I almost think they ran 10 players out onto the field and then let Holman kind of step in unannounced. You can do that. I've seen it before in football. Watch how wide open Holman is on the side here. There is absolutely no sand crab around him. He catches the ball and just easily walks into the end zone. So Glenn West with some trickery right here to get things started. The Cubs are on the board first.
Caleb Hill, the holder, with the touchdown pass to Holman, his 9th grab of the year. Now Pham stays in to add the extra point. What a beginning. The Brenham Cubs on their first drive with some trickeration, and they lead the Sand Crabs 7-0 on the Legacy Sports Network.
Car buying has never been easier in booming Port Lavaca. Just go to ptlavaca.com and get the lowest price on hundreds of in-stock vehicles. We discount them more than anyone else, and the pink plates you see all over town prove it. It's insanity! Think pink pricing like 12 grand off all 2013 Rams, 12 grand off F-150s, and 14 grand off Silverados. Bring us your offer. Guaranteed lowest pricing on all models at ptlavaca.com. Think pink at ptlavaca.com.
That was quick.
This was you. You've been trying to get me to eat egg whites for years. You went and talked to McDonald's?
Oh, an egg white delight McMuffin.
Oh, I knew it.
The new Egg White Delight McMuffin. Freshly grilled egg whites and creamy white cheddar. Also available on any of your favorites. It's another new way to love McDonald's.
This is good.
Yeah, it's better than good.
Do you remember my latte?
Oh, yeah, but it's in the car.
That's good.
Here's the quick kick. It almost looked like a fair catch from Velasquez, and he'll advance across the 30 down to the 35. Jay Darnielle, our sideline reporter, was right in front of that last play. Jay, what took place?
Yeah, guys, the receiver was on the field. The receiver was on the field. He came back to the sidelines just a couple inches away, and then that's why he didn't have to reestablish himself back on the field, and nobody saw him. He just kind of blended in there. Now, if he was on the sidelines and came back in, then he would have been seen most likely, but since he was on the field the play before, that's why he was able to sneak through, guys.
That's not fair. A green wide receiver sneaking on the field in this green turf. He can blend in like camouflage.
I'll tell you a secret about that in just a moment after this play.
First play for the Sand Crabs. Another option hitting to the corner. That's Smithwick. Brandon Smithwick with a gain of 10, and he's escorted out of bounds, and he has the Port Lavaca first down.
Glenn West actually played at Brenham along with a couple members of his coaching staff, but he saw that play in a game when Carthage played Brownwood back in 2009. Carthage ran a player onto the field and scored on a play like that. You see the keys to the game here, controlling the clock, strong ground game. Obviously, this is Port Lavaca, Calhoun. They want to contain that Brenham quarterback, Caleb Hill, as well.
Had to punt in their first sequence. We saw the option work for a first down run to start their second drive. Haven't seen a lot of Corey Williams yet. And right away, Hunter Bourne is dropped. It was Neil Mathis, the defensive tackle, waiting for that option pitch, and he just grabbed a hold of big number 14 and rode him to the turf.
Yeah, Hunter Bourne, he turned around and he had a green shirt right in his face. And this is a play where they just kind of do a little misdirection there, but opportunity there for the Brenham defense, and stepping up big, number 56 there, Talon Shepard.
almost looked like a kind of a synchronized swimming maneuver. You get guys turning and darting, different moves to try and create some deception as part of this option. 2nd and 13 though after that loss on first down. That's Williams, the first time he gets the football, able to spin away from the first tackler, but Eric Yeager, the linebacker, dropped him. He was the second man there.
Yeah, poor Lavaca Calhoun, they run the ball so often, but when they do occasionally throw it, look out. They'll use that play action and get the ball deep downfield. Against Cedar Park earlier this year, they actually did have a few passing plays, and they've won that game by 1 point, and that was the defending champion Timberwolves.
You could see where you'd be tempted to stack the box and dare them to throw, and if they do successfully, they can be a sniper opportunity team.
Absolutely.
But 3rd and 10 here, the football's loose, picked up by Form, and he's dropped, and it was Yeager again, coming on the blitz. And they'll force another punt from Port Lavaca Calhoun.
Yeah, Eric Yeager and these linebackers from Brenham pinning those ears back. They know they're going to run. You can see them coming right towards the gaps there, able to make an easy play. Good job just hanging on to that ball right there by Hunter Bourne.
I was going to say the same thing. They're lucky to have that football back and not see Brenham on the field offensively after a bad snap and then a bobble. Corey Williams had a short punt the last time he was out there, kicking in the direction of Desmond Lockett. It's a high but short kick. Lockett gets out of the way. This takes a tremendous bounce for the Sand Crabs. This is going to provide almost an extra 16 yards down to the 15. So Brenham gets the football back, but not very good field position.
All right, so let's look at the keys to the game here. Avoiding turnovers is the key for Brenham. That can really be the key for just about any team in America, but they want to stop that Calhoun ground game and also have a very balanced offensive attack. We saw that in their opening 45-yard drive, a lot of balance there. They were able to run it, throw it. Now with a little bit longer field, 85 yards away from pay dirt, we'll see how they mix things up this time around.
Our keys brought to you by the Port Lavaca Auto Group. What a deal. So Caleb Hill and the Cubs back on the field. Sand Crabs showing some pressure up front. Hill will roll and throw. Locates his man out of the backfield. It's Jordan Graves, the fullback, and he rumbles all the way across the 40-yard line. So they started from their 15 immediately out of the shadows of their end zone.
Yeah, Jordan Graves just wide open right there. Need a Port Lavaca Calhoun linebacker to step up and make that play, but you see over pursuing was Adrian Mendoza on the defensive inside. Brenham making him pay.
Hill with those arms extended, turning and flinging one downfield. And again, just out of the reach of Cortland Sutton, the big 6'4" senior wide receiver, laid out, tried to make the diving catch, but came up empty.
Cortland Sutton, great size. That 6'3" frame kind of reminds other Brenham Cubs fans as maybe Limas Swede, who played over with the University of Texas and, of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers. But that ball just outside of his reach. You see the artificial surface here at Reliant Stadium. That has been a nice addition here, and the team's getting a chance to play on a very familiar surface for them, as almost every team across the state now plays on this type of artificial surface.
So many of these outdoor playoff games decided by cold temperatures and wind. That's not a factor indoors here this weekend. Head of steam for Ernest Patterson. Now, he's not a big guy, 5'5", 145 pounds, but he runs angry, runs as if he's a much bigger guy.
Yeah, and he picked up some good yardage right there out to the 45-yard line. They'll be about 3 yards short of the first down, but watch as he takes the handoff here, follows his lead block, does a nice job of picking up the extra yards there, and takes a pretty tough hit right there head-to-head. So interesting play call coming up here on 3rd and 3.
Taylor Lee, the safety, the man to drop him, so again a 3rd and short. And this is where these balanced teams that are accurate passing units in addition to running provide a lot to cover for the Sand Crabs defense. Caleb Hill will give to Patterson. Following is blocking off the left side of the line. He's at midfield. He'll pick up a Brenham first down.
So Brenham moving the ball here again. They've kind of had a nice mix of running and passing, but mainly led by that ground attack. Let's not forget, we talked about how big that offensive line is for Port Lavaca Calhoun, averaging almost 300 pounds a man when you take away that 200-pound center. But Brenham's got a big offensive line too. They run out of that base formation set, and it's kind of a pro-style set. It really works for them.
Certainly is. 13-1 Cubs come out of that huddle. Just shy of midfield, leading 7-0 here in our first quarter from Reliant Stadium in the state semifinal. Fake handoff to Patterson. Hill with time. There's Holman wide open. And again, Hill showing some emotion on the other side of the field. He knew if he put that ball on the money, it was going to be 6.
Yeah, you know, for Caleb Hill, that is a pass he knows he would like to have back. Let me show you why. He drops back the pass here. At about this point, his man is wide open. You don't throw that ball that hard. You lay it up there for him and let him run underneath it. Just simply threw it a little bit too hard.
And for Caleb Hill, again, 9 of his 19 touchdown passes this season, at least coming into this game. Now 10 of his 20 on the year have come in the playoffs. There's a young man that wasn't even with the Cubs last year. He was with a 2A school, Little River Academy. Moved to Brenham in the summer to be closer to his dad's job. And he said it best. 2A football a lot slower than what he had to deal with early on this year. Patterson with a sprint forward for a gain of 4. But you can see, Jeff, him start to pick up the pace and the tempo and the rhythm. And while he'd like to have that throw back, he's really matured as a quarterback in the second half of the season.
Yeah, and he's got great size, too, good mobility, 1,616 yards rushing, but he's got a good, strong arm. And that left-handed style, sometimes it takes some getting used to as far as the receivers are concerned, especially when you've got almost a dual threat type quarterback, and then you're bringing in different styles of quarterbacks throughout the year. But Caleb has definitely been the man here lately. Again, 9 of the 19 touchdown passes coming here in the postseason.
He's got such a talented group of wide receivers. If he can put those throws on the money, normally they're caught. Passing down here, 3rd and 6. Here come the Sand Crabs. The throw is caught underneath. It was Tyler Watts near the marker. Had he been able to keep his footing, it would have been a sure first down. As it is, it's going to be very close.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 4th down because I saw the official here on the near side, the linesman just saying 4th down. They're about a half a yard short. But a great pass, but watch the hit that Caleb Hill takes. Bam, right there. Did a good job of getting rid of it. And if the man can keep his footing there, Tyler Watts, he could easily pick up the first down there, but he was trying to make sure he caught the ball first. So 4th and looks like about 2 feet.
And even on that replay, you see it's a very good spot. That's the down or the distance to gain. And now it's Walter Thomas, the running quarterback, who's in under center, being pushed forward by the fullback Jordan Graves to the 40. That should be good for a first down.
Yeah, good surge right there, and that's always a good sign. As an offensive coordinator, Tim Erline is the OC for the Brenham Cubs, and you like to know that if you need to pick up a yard, you can do it. I like the gutsy effort here going for it on 4th down. You're playing on the Port Lavaca Calhoun side of the field. Makes that decision just a little bit easier.
So the Cubs on the march again. Used a fake field goal pass for a touchdown to provide the game's only points. Sandcrab showing blitz almost on every play. Time to throw for Hill. Down the field again, just beyond Travante Johnson. That's 3 times, Jeff. Those receivers for Brenham have had the step, and the ball's been too far beyond their reach.
Yeah, just once again, I think Caleb Hill needs to do a better job of just kind of leaving that ball up there a little bit longer, put a little more air underneath it, and let his talented receivers run underneath it. Look at that again. Good 2 or 3 yard step there for Travante Johnson, but ball just overthrown.
So it's 2nd and 10. You see the play coming in from the sideline for Brenham. Over 600 yards in the last 2+ games for Caleb Hill, but he'd like to have a few of these throws back. Now Patterson has a hole, sprinting forward, and again, a nice gain on 2nd and 10. He'll get about half of those yards needed for the first down.
Well, and I think if you're Brenham, you're feeling pretty good about your offense so far. Not only are they running the ball really well, but if they fix that passing situation where, you know, you've got receivers who are wide open downfield on 3 or 4 different occasions, that's going to make that Sand Crab defense back off a little bit and open up a possible running attack here even more for the Cubs.
Makes them so dangerous to defend. Another important down, though, 3rd and 5. James Holman, the receiver, to the right side of your screen. And a left-handed quarterback likes to throw in that direction. There it is, looking that way, throwing that way. Holman's got it. No one there. 1 man to beat. Holman stays on his feet, dropped at the 5. Identifying him as the target to look for, and it didn't take Hill long to find him, and a nice run after the catch for a 1st and goal.
Yeah, James Holman, he's kind of the go-to guy for them. And again, you talked about it before, a talented group of receivers. The key is just getting him the ball. Hill does a nice job here, staying in the pocket to the last minute, gets the pass off. Great job, and look at Holman picking up the big yardage after the catch.
Taylor Lee held him up just long enough so he could get some assistance. Lee third in the Sand Crabs defense in tackles, but it is a 1st and goal from the 5. Ernest Patterson has run for 23 touchdowns this season in this pistol formation. That play's blown dead. Did not look good from the beginning.
Yeah, this one's going to go against Brenham, but you know, dare I say that this might be the best offense that Brenham has had here in Blue Bell country.
Snap, false start, offense. Everyone but the center. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Everybody's guilty except the man who's supposed to snap the football, which makes him guilty. I'm sorry, proceed.
But best offense they've had since Jarrett Lee was running it. Of course, he went on to LSU, and that's back when they played Aledo for the state title, lost that game. But nonetheless, Brenham has got so much balance this year. They look really good so far on offense in this one.
Sure, they hated to have that penalty, so now 1st and goal from the 10. There's a fade. Johnson up! He made the catch! Travante Johnson comes down with it. Touchdown, Brenham.
There's the nice timing pattern right there. Just laid that up for his receiver, Travante Johnson, to come underneath that and catch it. And Johnson really going up high for that one. And that's what you like to see when you've got a tall receiver. Anytime you're over 6 feet and you've got that edge on the defensive backs, lob it up there. See the nice throw there by Caleb. Gave him a chance to go up and make a play. Look at that. Fantastic job by Johnson coming down with that one.
And Pham will add the extra point, but there is a marker down, so we'll see what the penalty's all about. Now for Johnson, just his 13th catch, 4th touchdown this year. The reason why, he just returned recently from a broken wrist, so he missed a lot of playing time, but he's back here in the state semifinal matchup. Looks like the penalty is going against the Sand Crabs.
Offside defense, number 7. Penalty is declined. The result of the try is good.
Yes, it is. 1:10 to play in our first quarter. 14-0. Brenham with the lead over Port Lavaca Calhoun.
Car buying has never been easy.
Wrangler Championship Week on Fox Sports Southwest. We turn up the coverage as high school teams from across the state start their trek to Arlington. Plus, relive big gridiron moments with classic games. It's Wrangler Championship Week, brought to you in part by Cavender's.
Long live being comfortable in your own saddle. Long live being tough enough to handle anything. Introducing Premium Performance Advanced Comfort Cowboy Cut Jeans. 2 times longer lasting and made to move with you, so you can move like a champion. New Advanced Comfort from Wrangler. Long live Cowboys.
If it's high school football, it's on Fox Sports Southwest. We're your home for comprehensive coverage every game night. Get all the Texas high school football scores and highlights from across the state. High School Scoreboard Live on Fox Sports Southwest.
Raheem Jones returns the kickoff of the Sand Crabs, or should I say attempts to return. He's dropped shy of the 20.
If you're Glenn West, you like what you're seeing out of your Brenham squad, both offensively and defensively. They've really taken it to the Sand Crabs here in the first quarter. A little bit of indecision right there, and nice piece of tackling right here. Good low angle hit, and a fantastic job right there by Desmond Lockett. He's been all over the field today, hasn't he?
Boy, certainly has. Very talented player. And this Calhoun offense, of course, is designed to get leads and hold leads. Not oftentimes is it the best for being down 14-0, but still plenty of time left. But this is really an important sequence, I would think, for the Sand Crabs. And they're going to go back 5 yards before they can even really get this drive underway.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 79, 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
That's Jorge Rios, the 6'3", 315-pound sophomore tackle.
You know, Jay, Darnell might have heard the defense there for the Cubs kind of shaking things up a little bit. They're probably yelling, calling out some hut, all that kind of stuff. Hey, why not? You want to rattle the opposing team's quarterback, but they were definitely moving. The linebackers jumping up and down, just trying to keep the Sand Crabs a little off guard here in the early going.
Calhoun coming off the 46-22 win over San Antonio Alamo Heights last week. Ran for nearly 500 yards, but still trying to get things on track today. And there's another marker down. Looks like they took too much time. So first a procedure penalty.
Prior to the snap, delay,
now
offense,
a delay.
number 14, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Jeff, what's going on right now with the Sand Crabs offense?
Yeah, I think the problem is that Brenham's in their head right now. They're, the way that their defensive line's jumping around, I'm sure they're, yelling out hut, things like that. And then the linebackers are kind of crashing. You can see a lot of movement. And I think Port Lavaca Calhoun's in a position right now where they're not in a familiar feeling, down 14-0 early on, knowing that they're a run first, run second, run third kind of team.
And now they're backed up all the way to their 8-yard line, so they'll run a basic play, but they do so with Corey Williams. There's no one in front of Corey Williams. He has a chance to go 92. Lockett, can he catch him? Williams with the cutback. Williams to the 3. My goodness, what a play when the Sand Crabs needed it most.
Absolutely. They got into that secondary, and that's one of the things. If you can get past that initial line there where those linebackers are crashing the gaps, you can hit them, and there you go. Nice job by Williams, right up the gut, making a big play. He lines up as a fullback, but you can see he's got some pretty good speed. Only Desmond Lockett was able to catch him there at the very end, and that's a touchdown-saving tackle right there by Lockett at the 3-yard line.
Great effort by Lockett, better effort from Corey Williams. So now the Sand Crab faithful in full throat on the far side of the field as they try and put their first points on the board. Williams, why not? Give it to him again. Head over heels, but he's down shy of the goal line.
And dare I say, that was probably the first time in this game that the Calhoun Sand Crabs have been able to really cheer on and feel good about themselves about a particular play, but they really needed that. I mean, when you've got a team that is run heavy, and you're down 14-0 early on, you need to get Uncle Mo back on your side.
Yes, you do. Nothing like a 93-yard run.
Uncle Mo likes those.
He loves them, in fact. See Williams asking his fans to keep it down so they can hear the snap. Williams stuck up, and Yeager will drop him with a handful of other Cub players, but the marker is also down in the field. Talon Shepard, one of those involved on that stop. Not sure what this penalty can be. It looks like they're going to mark off offsides defense, and that'll be a very costly penalty on Brenham. Probably in the neutral zone.
Offside defense, number 22. That was the last play of the quarter. We will have to play one untimed down, second down.
It's Ryan Nunn, a linebacker who is crowding the line of scrimmage. So instead of 3rd and goal from about the 1, now it's 2nd and goal from the half-yard line. Hunter Bourne, the quarterback. Gives to Corey Williams, and he's into the end zone. His 32nd touchdown this season, and why not? He did the heavy lifting on this drive, and he gets the score.
Yeah, very fitting, and Corey Williams, you had a feeling he was going to get the call right there. You see, he just has a nose for that end zone and lunges right in for the touchdown.
Fernando Omares Rodriguez, 14 of 17 this year in extra points. From the hold of Gavin Trevino, high snap, placement made, and the kick is good. So we'll finish our first quarter on that note. Good ball game going on. Brenham still with the lead, but their advantage now 14-7, and it was a big play that set up the Sand Crabs for their very first score.
Never been easier in booming Port Lavaca. Just go to ptlavaca.com and get the lowest price on hundreds of in-stock vehicles. We discount them more than anyone else, and the pink plates you see all over town prove it. It's insanity! Think pink pricing like 12 grand off all 2013 Rams, 12 grand off F-150s, and 14 grand off Silverados. Bring us your offer. Guaranteed lowest pricing on all models at ptlavaca.com. Think pink at ptlavaca.com.
Russell Kane Real Estate. Come for a weekend, stay for a lifetime. Good look at Reliance Stadium. Good game indoors, 14-7. Brenham with the lead. They'll get the football to start our second quarter. A chance for a big play. And a return by Malik Wilson as he carries it up near the 40. The Cubs will have it back.
Yeah, Malik Wilson, one of those star receivers here for Brenham, has such good speed, gets to the outside quickly. Nice pickup right there. Great starting field position here up around the 38-yard line. So we'll see if Brenham can answer that touchdown drive by Calhoun. And that was pretty much the Corey Williams show, if you will, with the 93-yard run and then the 2-yard touchdown.
Certainly was. Meanwhile, Caleb Hill, 2 touchdown passes, leads his offense back on the field. Patterson will carry, trying to get to the corner. Good block from Cortland Sutton enables him to get to the boundary. He was popped hard out of bounds by Taylor Lee. And a pickup of 3.5, 4 yards on the play.
It's a pretty pivotal part of the game right here now. No question about it. Port Lavaca, Calhoun has the momentum back on their side now after that big, long touchdown drive. And they need their defense to kind of step up for them here and make a stop, because they really haven't stopped Brenham so far in the game.
And this is a Brenham team that in the last 2 weeks, Jeff, ran for just 113 yards on 63 carries. That's less than 2 yards a rush. So maybe they can start by trying to stop the running game, but it's tough because there's Givens out of the backfield. Jordan Graves, the fullback on the pass from Hill, rumbles for a first down and much more all the way to the Sand Crabs' 36-yard line.
You got to love Jordan Graves. He's got that big frame. He's a middle linebacker and a running back, but he just runs out. Nobody's covering him, makes the catch. Good block downfield by James Holman, and look at Graves all the way down to the 37-yard line.
Brenham's run that play a couple of times, and with success, the way he sneaks quickly past the line of scrimmage, and Hill locates him. Unaccounted for, I guess. So the Cubs on the march. And Patterson will be thrown forward for a couple of yards. That enabled him to get some gain. Skylar Blinka just tossed him down, and Blinka, man, with more than 100 tackles on the year, so he's done that a few times this season.
Yeah, and I'm sure Brenham, they'll take that extra few yards there off the tackle, but hey, when you're trying to get a man down, you'll do whatever it takes. So easier said than done from up here to tackle.
Yeah, indeed. Dakota Ring was part of that sequence as well. So it's 2nd and 7. Holman, the receiver, to the right. He lines up to the right of Hill because of this left-handed QB. And he'll turn and this time give right up the middle for a couple of more yards. And you can see the Cubs trying to establish the ground game with Patterson. He'll be shy of the marker, but not by much.
Well, when you think about the tradition of Brenham, I mean, go back to Roosevelt Leaks, who ran for Brenham back in the early 70s, and some of the names, some of the great players that have played with the Cubs through the years, Wilson Whitley. It's a team that has a lot of great tradition, but they've been good at football for a very long time.
Going to come back and speak to what this game might mean to Glenn West and the Cubs after this important 3rd down sequence. 3rd and 3, probably 2-down territory though for Brenham. And a play blown dead with the procedures, so that's not what the Cubs wanted to have occur.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 14, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
There's Cortland Sutton, the wideout, but a win today for the Brenham Cubs and Glenn West, and a win next week would give him an even 200 wins in his career in a state championship game, 198 victories. So if you want to look ahead on a personal note or for a program, that's a big number and a big milestone in the not too distant future.
And he deserves it. Outstanding coach. His father, Kenneth West, was a longtime assistant under Gordon Wood with the Brownwood Lions. He just grew up around football.
Hill has to be scrambling to throw the ball downfield and to home and catch it. He grabbed the football. Was he inbounds? The official is going to mark him with the catch.
Got the 1 foot down. That's all you need in high school football. And Holman is having himself one heck of a game.
Couldn't be more impressed with him. We're going to see this again. The fans reacting. You can hear the noise in the background. They saw it on the monitor. And I think Holman, well, he got that left foot down. I'm not sure if that right foot was out of bounds first. We're going to have to bring that back and see if we can get a pretty good look. It was awfully close.
Yeah, left and right, both in right there.
That's a
good.
2-foot catch.
Yeah.
What a play.
That's an NFL catch.
My goodness. It looked like it was almost as if Hill was going to just try and throw it to the boundary where only his man could catch it. And there's Ernest Patterson right into the end zone. Touchdown, Brenham. The great catch from Holman sets up the short touchdown run. 20 points on the board for the Cubs.
Well, and there's the answer. I mean, no question about it. Port Lavaca Calhoun had put together a nice drive for a touchdown all on the ground. Cubs come right back. Patterson takes it into the end zone for a touchdown, and Brenham back in front trying to go up by 14 now.
So Patterson even closer to that school record set by Cleveland Franklin, but he gets a touchdown here in a short gain, and the extra point from Pham is good. 9:16 to play before the half. 21-7, Brenham.
There's more than just ice cream in a carton of Bluebell. Picnics and birthdays and welcome home signs. Over 100 years of fond childhood memories. Clear country mornings and a summer sunrise. One taste and you can't help but wonder how Bluebell gets so many good things in a carton that size.
Car buying has never been easier in booming Port Lavaca. Just go to ptlavaca.com and get the lowest price on hundreds of in-stock vehicles. We discount them more than anyone else, and the pink plates you see all over town prove it. It's insanity! Think pink pricing like 12 grand off all 2013 Rams, 12 grand off F-150s, and 14 grand off Silverados. Bring us your offer. Guaranteed lowest pricing on all models at ptlavaca.com. Think pink at ptlavaca.com.
21-7, Brenham with the lead. And the Cubs to kick it back to the Sand Crabs. They're in second quarter action. Pham will try an onside kick, trying to angle it towards Sutton on the corner. And there's a marker down, so maybe Sutton got an early start on that one. So the Cubs trying to go with a little trickeration again.
You know, I think back with Glenn West being a former Brownwood Lion, Gordon Wood was always good at using those kind of trick plays. He always had one up his sleeve. They'd practice it all week, and then they would put it out there, especially in playoff games, because you could take advantage of a defense that's maybe just thinking too much.
There were 2 fouls by the kicking team. Offside, number 82. Penalty is declined. Free kick out of bounds. That penalty will be accepted. 5 yards added to the end of the kick. First down.
So instead of pitting the Sand Crabs deep, they have very good field position. And Jeff, this might be just what they need. Now again down 2 scores to try and get back in this game.
Sure. And you know, this is the Houston chapter, the Texas Association of Sports Officials. I like the way they really do a great job of explaining the details of the penalty. That's always good for our listeners out there on FoxSportsSouthwest.com.
Hunter Bourne, the quarterback, will go under center again with Corey Williams, who just scored, locating a couple of yards behind him. And Williams runs into the pile for a short gain. Eric Yeager, the linebacker, was on top, and the man below was Talon Shepard, the tackle.
I think duly noted, you might have noticed there that the sun kind of came through the clouds there. Now the roof is closed here, but that does make a difference. The lighting on the field is much more vibrant when that sun is coming through the retractable roof here at Reliance Stadium. Just a beautiful facility and long-time place for regional finals and maybe one day back to having state championship games here too.
Well, it's a possibility. In our second game, a San Antonio team will be here to face Katy. That's a 4 o'clock kick. Bourne will run the pitch and give to Velasquez. Velasquez is flipped on the corner by Earls, but he may have propelled himself to the first down.
You know, it's all about the size up front for Port Lavaca Calhoun. They've got some big offensive linemen. Now, I mentioned earlier their center, he weighs 200. Everybody else, the average, right around 300 pounds. So they move the ball. They like to run it behind that big line, and they're really set up with some huge guards.
Final thought on the Katy Tigers before we move on. They've won more games in this building this year than the Houston Texans have. So they'll get a chance to add to that in our 4 o'clock game. We've got a good one here from our noon kick. 21-7, Brenham the lead, but the Sand Crabs trying to answer again. Corey Williams got chopped down low by Lockett falls forward for a gain of 2 or 3.
Yeah, Corey Williams, you need to tackle him down low. He's got great leg drive, big thighs, plays that fullback position well. And if you're the Sand Crabs, the ability to not only have a couple of star-studded running backs, but also have a quarterback who can run the football. That's very important for their style of offense. We talked about the similarities with Georgia Southern and Georgia Tech, you know, this flex bone type of offense. I mean, look at it. It's all about the running game.
We've not seen Borm keep much. As I say that, there he goes. He was looking for that late pitch in the direction of Smithwick. But you mentioned Borm. I mean, here's a guy that's run for almost 1,700 yards, but for the most part, he's been content to try and distribute that football and get that option going.
Yeah, just trying to string out that defense. The Cubs have done a nice job of kind of playing horizontal football here and stringing those plays out.
So it'll be 3rd and 3, again, 2-down territory for the Sand Crabs and Coach Richard Whitaker. Actually going to have a receiver each side of this formation, spread out the field. Williams hit right away. Yeager, the linebacker, again was the first man there, but you see a handful of green jerseys on the pile, including Brandon Baer, the defensive end. Just no running room for Corey Williams.
Yeah, it's tight. I mean, I think that's the game plan if you're the Brenham Cubs. I mean, Craig Agnew, the defensive coordinator, will be the first to tell you it's all about stopping that ground game, but most notably Corey Williams. You want to make sure that when he touches the ball, it's all hats to the football.
So it is 2-down territory, but still 3 yards to gain. 4th down, 3 to go.
And going forward on 4th down is not uncommon for Port Lavaca Calhoun. They do it a lot.
Cubs want a timeout as they see the formation from the Sand Crabs.
Timeout on the field. Brenham, first charge timeout of the half.
That's always a smart timeout too. When you get a chance to see what the offense is going to do on the other side of the field, then you kind of regroup, think about it, what's going to give you the best type of defense for that play. But I always think, hey, when you give an offensive coach on the other side time to think about it, watch out for play action, especially when you know they're going to run it.
Our game brought to you by Searchers Realty, located on Highway 290 between Brenham and Chapel Hill at the entrance to Bluebonnet Hills subdivision, a proud supporter of the Brenham Cubs. And by the Bar B Boutique, where too much of a good thing can be wonderful. And our title sponsor, driven by the Port Lavaca Auto Group. What a deal. Port Lavaca Auto Group and Russell Kane Real Estate come for a weekend stay for a lifetime. Our kickoff sponsor here today. McDonald's sponsors the pregame show. I'm loving it.
You know, one thing about Port Lavaca Calhoun, listen to these numbers. Corey Williams averages over 9 yards a carry. Elijah Velasquez, almost 9 yards a carry. Brandon Smithwick, 13 yards per carry. That's the average. That's amazing.
Well, I would think, though, you need to get to the corner, maybe run an option instead of going right into that line. They'll run the option. Borm will keep. In a second surge, will pick up the first down on a huge 4th down play. Cortland Sutton, the corner, went for a ride. And Borm used his size and strength to move the sticks.
You know, I talked to Phil Danaher earlier this week. Of course, he's the head coach of Cal Allen, over 400 wins, and they beat Port Lavaca Calhoun rather handily early on in the season. In fact, that was the opener of the season, and they did it by being very aggressive up front, but just being more physical. But it is hard to out-physical the Sand Crabs. They've got some big players in that offensive line.
Certainly do, and now another penalty, and this has started to become an issue today for both teams.
You know, and Coach Danaher had mentioned in that 48-0 win that was the best game they played all season, and it sounds like it because the Sand Crabs had beaten Cal Allen the previous 2 years.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 54, number 19. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
So procedure penalties have been out in full force.
And this is kind of a familiar drive for Calhoun. I mean, you look back at some of the other games, they had control of the clock against Cedar Park. In fact, a 31-17 minute advantage. That's their type of football. The Sand Crabs need to be moving the football on the ground and eating up a lot of time.
Borm will try to follow a lead blocker. He's going to bounce it outside. And still continuing inside the 10, inside the 5. Dion Earls had a hold of Bourne. The football came out late. The Cubs think they have it, but the play was blown dead, or the ball carrier Bourne's knee was down.
Yeah, look at Hunter Bourne here, faking the handoff, and then he follows Williams, the lead blocker, able to pick up some great yards. And look at him use the stiff arm right there. Nice job. You just don't see that very often from a quarterback. And Bourne, he's like a tight end out there moving around.
Well, I tell you what,
that ball come loose?
He wasn't down. He was
Wow.
on the defender, so his knee was not down. That could have easily been a fumble unless that whistle was blown dead. Bourne will keep. Bourne into the end zone. Touchdown, Sand Crabs. And it's a one-score game again. 18th rushing touchdown of the year.
Yeah, Hunter Bourne, that was his show, this drive. He really can show you what he can do on the ground. Nice job of faking the handoff. You know, we alluded to this earlier, that he wasn't running the ball early on in the game, and on this drive, he ran it on several occasions, and that's just a new dimension. That just gives you another option on the offense.
Running the football with success.
It's all about keeping that defense honest.
Calhoun has run on a couple of different extra point kickers. This one's good. 21-14. Brenham with the lead. 4:57 to play in the half.
The time is now for live video highlights of your school's march to excellence.
News sets up inside of the pitch. High fly to left. It's up. It's deep. And it's going to be gone.
Legacy Sports Network brings you high-quality HD video broadcasted by the best in the business.
Handoff, Adam Taylor lunges to the end zone, touchdown.
This is one of the most exciting things.
With all the runs, hits, scores, and more, we're building a legacy one game at a time.
I appreciate it, Gerald. You guys at Legacy do an unbelievable job.
Join us on pay-per-view or video live streaming your favorite high school and college athletics at LegacySportsNetwork.com.
Legacy Sports Network is going to be bringing this presentation to your home.
It's a 21-14 game. The Brenham Cubs with the advantage. Back and forth we've gone 2 times in our contest. The Cubs have had a 2-touchdown lead, only to see Port Lavaca answer. Brenham will get the football back. Malik Wilson from the 15. Wilson trying to get outside. And the play strung out, and he steps out at about the 25.
Yeah, some great skill position play by Brenham. They've got so much speed at that wide receiver position that really shows up on kickoff returns and punts. They're especially deadly on special teams.
Good look at Malik Wilson as he comes off the field, and Caleb Hill, and the quarterback for the Brenham Cubs, back on the surface here at Reliance Stadium. And this is the Sand Crabs defense that needs to find an answer for this combination of Patterson on the ground and Hill through the air.
And this is a good time to start if you're Port Lavaca Calhoun.
Hill hit as he threw the football, and he just got drilled. Coming on the rush was Garrett Wiemeyer, the linebacker, the junior, from the blind side of the left-handed QB.
Yeah, look at Garrett Wiemeyer. He is a 5'10", 195-pound linebacker. He's a junior. Check out the pursuit here just from the outside. And I tell you, Caleb is lucky that this ball's not intercepted. Ball was thrown into no man's land, and I'm sure Hill is, he looked up after he got hit and realized, wow, that's going to be short of the target.
So now 2nd and 10. Patterson is the flanker to the right. He will come in motion. And Hill will keep. Caleb Hill, much more of a thrower than a runner, able to surge forward, get about half the yards needed for a first down. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, an interesting play call opportunity here. Tim Erline, he was a quarterback when he played high school football at Brownwood, has taken that with him the entire time. And on a 3rd and about 5 yards, you'd think it was a good passing down situation here, but maybe a little play action pass, perhaps, even run the football. Options are wide open.
One play they've not been able to stop is the fullback Graves out of the backfield on a quick toss. He's not in the game for the time being. It's the pistol formation. Hill will throw one to Johnson on the near side. Johnson looking for a seam, can't do so. Tremendous open field tackle by Travis Hudson, 4th on this team and stops. The senior safety brings up 4th down.
Yeah, we haven't seen that play too often today here for Brenham. It doesn't work. A nice job by the secondary here for Calhoun, swarming on the defensive side, and a really good job of making an open field tackle there by number 11, Travis Hudson.
It's Tyler Watts who couldn't get that block. Maybe Spring Johnson, so it'll bring on a punting situation. Caleb Hill will stay in, the quarterback. He averages 38 a kick.
Hey, and talk about respect. No one's back deep right now for Calhoun, so they must be thinking a fake is on.
Well, I can't imagine. I'm never in favor of not having somebody back just to limit that roll, and it's a quick kick opportunity, and this one's going to roll for a long time if it doesn't go to bounds. Inside the 30.
Uh-oh.
Little competition for the football.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe Calhoun didn't touch that ball.
It looked like Brenham had downed it. There was no whistle, so you saw Hudson kind of jump on the football late. That's never a good decision, and I think the Sandcrabs are lucky they have the football back.
Yeah, you don't want the officials to think something else, that you may have touched it.
Well, the ball was touched upfield, but it was touched by a Cub, so they'll move it forward a couple of yards, and the Sandcrabs will have it back.
There you go. So they get the stop we were talking about. The Sandcrabs finally able to slow down this Brenham offense, and an opportunity here to tie this game up and make something happen.
Offense is starting to click, and you mentioned that game their defense gave up 55 points, but they won the game 76-55. They scored on 11 of their 12 drives, so they're used to having that success, and they've had to work for it here in this first half to kind of get to this spot.
It's hard to imagine that they would have 12 drives.
This play is going to work for a little flip. The football's loose, and the Cubs have it. Boy, that just didn't look good from the beginning. And the man who jumped on the football, I believe, is that Patterson?
Let's see here. The ball was
Jamark Smith got him.
Yeah, just kind of taking the eyes off the ball right there late was number 9 there for Calhoun, Brandon Smithwick. And yes, Brenham football.
Well, it looked like the play was going to be blown up. You saw the option. Had the ball been caught cleanly, it may have resulted 8, 9, 10 yards. But Tramark Smith, the junior linebacker, jumped on top of it, and the Cubs have it back. So momentum just shifted again. Cubs great field position and the lead. They'll look for the big play right out of the gates. That ball's up for grabs, intended for Sutton. Double coverage was there, and Taylor Lee got a hand on it first.
Yeah, Taylor Lee, nice job right there, tipping that ball away. Thought he might even have a chance at a pick. But I tell you, these Brenham Cub receivers, they're so big and tall. They get their hands up there. Watch Cortland Sutton go up. And you can see he does a nice job of tipping that ball away and making sure that it was not intercepted by Taylor Lee.
So the clock stopped, 2:46 to play in the half. Brenham has a chance to regain that 2-touchdown advantage, which they have enjoyed on 2 different occasions in the game. See if Patterson carries. Oftentimes on 2nd and 10, he's been the man getting the football, and he will. And drilled out of bounds. And it was Travis Hudson who came racing over to limit Patterson to only a couple of yards.
Well, and Glenn West told us in pregame meetings that he thought turnovers would be key in a situation like this. You get this far into the postseason, turnovers are big. What you can do with them is also very big. Brenham, interesting situation here now, 3rd and 8. Can they take advantage of that fumble by Port Lavaca Calhoun? We'll see.
James Holman to the left. Dravante Johnson, the receiver, to the right. The Cortland Sutton lines up as the tight end to the left. The pass comes out of the backfield to Graves again. Jordan Graves lost it. The football's loose. And the Sandcrabs, I believe, have it.
Got to fall on that football. It looked like at least one Brenham player had a shot at it, but it is the Sand Crabs who come up with it. Taylor Lee again with the ball. So a couple of big plays there by Taylor Lee, and the Sand Crabs have the football right back as we take a look at it one more time. Great pursuit, first of all, by the defense, just wreaking havoc. But then watch the ball come loose, and jarring it loose right there is J.C. Garcia. But right there, Holman looks like he can pick it up. Doesn't do it. You got to fall on that ball. Right. Don't try to pick it up.
It would have been a 4th or 3, 4th and 4 had he fallen on the ball. He was trying to pick it up and get extra yards, and he helped that go right back over to the Sand Crabs.
Sure, you're in field goal range. I mean, the ball's on the 22. You can kick a field goal right there. But nonetheless, it goes over to Port Lavaca Calhoun with 2:30 to play in the half.
Calhoun does have all 3 timeouts, so although not a lot of time for a run-oriented team with those timeouts, they have plenty of time if they don't do that. That's the second bad option play in a row they've run. The previous play, a fumble. That time, 2 guys running into each other for no gain.
I'll tell you what happened there. The Brenham defense overstacked that right side of the line, and I think they made Williams basically run a little further to the opposite side than maybe his quarterback wanted him to. Caleb Hill turns around, and they're right on top of each other. But they overstacked that right side, and that's where Williams was supposed to take the handoff.
2nd and 10. Nice option play this time, and even though Elijah Velasquez gets flipped after a short gain, it looked like that was going nowhere. At least that option kept that play alive for a few extra seconds.
And that's what Brenham's doing right now on that defensive front. They've got linebackers stepping up to the line of scrimmage too. They're crowding one side of the line. They've noticed the tendency of the Sand Crabs to run to one side of the football. So it's caused Port Lavaca Calhoun to kind of have some miscues here on this drive. We'll see here now with 3rd and about 7.
Have we seen the Sand Crabs throw it at all today?
I don't believe.
I don't think so. Oh, football's loose again, and this time it's still loose. A scoop and a score. Brandon Baird.
Brandon Baird there to pick up the football. Turnovers costly here in the last couple minutes for Port Lavaca Calhoun, but it's all because of that pressure defense. The nice job up front, getting a hat on it right off the top by Eric Yeager, and then picking it up and taking it into the end zone was Brandon Baird. Wow, big play.
Huge play, and these teams just can't hold on to the football in the last 5 minutes, but Baird finally able to collect and score the touchdown. Of course, the Cubs do not have a holder. Caleb Hill didn't have his helmet on. He's sprinting on the field, waiting to hold for Pham.
He was getting ready for the next offensive series.
High five at his defense. Great job. And he was needed.
Need to kick it.
Extra points good.
Need to hold the kick. That's right.
28-14. Brenham again enjoys a 2-touchdown advantage. And tough sequence for the Sand Crabs. Couple of fumbles. They got one back. But the fumble by Borm leads to the touchdown from Baird. Take one more look.
See the pursuit there on the defense, just wreaking havoc. Nice job up front by Eric Yeager. And then right here, I'm kind of thinking, you know, Brandon Barrett fall on it after what has happened in the last series, but you know what, he's got one of his men sitting next to him. It's really hard to tell a player that you can't just pick it up and run it in. I mean, the key is, if you're going to do that, just make sure you get the ball and take it in.
He did, the senior defensive end with the touchdown. So now just 1:10 to play here in our first half. Port Lavaca Calhoun hopes for a big return on special teams from Brandon Smithwick.
I don't think there's been any question. We knew going in that the Sand Crabs giving up 363 points for the season, that they would give up some points today to this Brenham offense. Can they score some?
It's Raheem Jones looking for some room, and just nothing really available. Special teams tackle made by Michael Adams, number 21.
Yeah, you don't want to play catch-up in this situation with 1:03 to play, down 28-14, ball pinned back on your own 13-yard line. I don't know. That's tough. I know they like to run the football, but you might want to just take a knee here and put it on into halftime.
See how conservative they want to be, because, again, a lot of field ahead of them, although their one scoring drive went in excess of 90 yards, but it was helped out by a 93-yard run by Williams.
And Brenham does have 2 timeouts remaining if they decide to do that. If you're Brenham, you may want to call a timeout.
Football's loose again. Picked up and scored for a touchdown. Desmond Lockett, who had a chance on the previous play, only to see Baird score, this time got his chance. A scoop and a score on back-to-back plays.
Unbelievable. You could go an entire season without seeing that, and it happens twice in one game. Johnny on the spot, making a fantastic play, scooping that up is Desmond Lockett. He's had a great first half, and he gets a touchdown, and there's the salute right there, and wow. So just like that, a couple of key plays, and Brenham's now up 34-14, trying to increase it to a 3-touchdown lead.
Boy, staying on his feet was the important part of that return. And Lockett, who just about had one on the previous play, but ceded to Baird, got his opportunity, and the salute. The Texans left today to go to Indianapolis. J.J. Watt came out of the field before the game, took his picture with a lot of the Brenham Cubs who are out there. Maybe a little salute for J.J. Sure. And it's 35-14. And the worst possible scenario for the Sandcrabs has occurred, providing this balanced and good Brenham offense with points by their defense.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes ago we were talking about how they had a chance to tie this game up. They had the ball, about 3 minutes to play, and just like that, 2 costly turnovers that Brenham not only picks up the football but scores on both plays.
Back-to-back scoops and scores. Amazing.
Glenn West said it was going to come down to turnovers. He's been in these games long enough to know when you get 2 evenly matched teams, a lot of times it does come down to turnovers. And it's so cliche to say that in pregame, but really, in reality, that's exactly what's happened. The turnovers have been the difference.
You almost have to credit this Brenham defense up front with maybe that extra pressure or hurry on Bourne to what has forced the Sandcrabs offense to do, leading to some of these bobbled snaps and pitches.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's, wreaking havoc. You might have seen the Brenham special teams there. They've kind of got the train going, it looks like. I think they feel like they're a runaway freight train right now, up 35-14.
Jones from the 6. And the hole closes quickly. I'm going to give you 2 guesses who made that special teams tackle, and you're not going to need them both. Desmond Lockett.
There you go. He's been all over the place. I mean, dare I say, Sandcrabs take a knee now. I mean, it's one of those things in football where it's hard to tell your team to take a knee with time on the clock, but you just can't afford to have those kind of mistakes. And it's happened now twice to them here in a game that was very tight, and now Brenham's going to go into the locker room with perhaps a 3-touchdown lead.
I agreed with you on the previous sequence. I almost think now they have to try and get something through the air just to see if they can break a big play. Down 35-14. They'll stick with the option. Elijah Velasquez picks up good yards, although it eats up more time, and we're down to 45 seconds to go in the half as he's popped out of bounds shy of the 40.
Yeah, Velasquez has great speed, really gets to the outside quickly. And that's what they need from him. Port Lavaca, Calhoun down on the coast. They do square off with a lot of the Corpus Christi area teams in the early part of the season. And then, of course, in district play, they have owned their district. They've been a powerhouse in the Coastal Bend for a while.
Corey Williams wrapped up almost immediately at the line of scrimmage. It was Talon Shepard. He's been a busy man today up front.
And the clock continues to run. 32-31, and with both teams with 2 timeouts each, looks like the Sandcrabs are pretty content to let this kind of run out.
They'll go the entire first half without a pass attempt. Unless, well, maybe I spoke too soon. There we go. And the catch is made. Velasquez, he's at the Brenham 40. And the clock is stopped with 2 seconds left. And they've got a timeout to spend. They'll do so here.
Kind of a smart play there by Brenham. The 2 defenders kind of keeping him up in the air, trying to run the clock out. It went all the way down to 2 seconds.
Timeout, Calhoun. First charge.
Don't tackle him too quickly. You'll see here they kind of held him up. Watch, keep him up, keep him up, keep him up. That's one way to do it. Keep it clock moving.
Boy, I like that throw, though, from Hunter Bourne. Maybe a weapon they can utilize more so in the second half.
Yeah, put that in the back of your mind if you're Brenham, because, hey, they did complete one pass. They were perfect.
Now they're going to try to attempt one for about 38 yards towards the end zone. We'll see if the blocking can hold up long enough for Bourne maybe to have the Hail Mary of sorts, or toss one towards the end zone to see if the Sand Crabs can steal a touchdown here at the end of our second quarter.
I think that's exactly what the Sand Crabs are talking about right now. What do they want to run that's perhaps not as risky as getting a quarterback hit on the blind side and fumbling the ball, but maybe, you know, trying to throw the ball deep downfield, set something up. We know their quarterback can run the football. We just saw a great pass there, so he has his moments. When you're a run-oriented team, the idea is you're going to run the football until you're proven otherwise, and their offense really, outside of the turnovers, has been pretty effective.
Well, they started to click when it was a 21-14 game, but those moments will be obscured by the back-to-back fumbles returned for touchdowns. Two receivers to the right. Bourne, he's not even going to have time, and he fumbles again. It's picked up by Trademark Smith, and you could see the lineman for Calhoun saying, "You're not going to return another one."
That's the end of the first half.
Calhoun probably says amen to that. Time to get to the locker room down 35-14.
3 turnovers in the last 3 minutes. I mean, this one not as costly because it's the last play of the half, but still, that's what you want to avoid right there. You know, when you sit back in that pocket, there's a chance someone could be coming along your blind side.
Well, that would be 4 fumbles recovered, right?
Okay, now joined by Coach West. Coach, talk about that special teams went for it on 4th down. Talk about your play call there.
Well, you know, we're doing some things there. We're taking some chances. Some things went well, some things didn't. It's my fault on the onside kick. Shouldn't have done it, but we did it, and we cost us 7. But
thanks for the time, Coach.
Thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
All right, thanks, Jay. Honesty from the coach. He didn't care for that onside kick, but everything else has been working in favor of the Cubs. They lead the Sand Crabs at the half, 35-14.
Car buying has never been easier in booming Port Lavaca. Just go to ptlavaca.com and get the lowest price on hundreds of in-stock vehicles. We discount them more than anyone else, and the pink plates you see all over town prove it. It's insanity! Think pink pricing like 12 grand off all 2013 Rams, 12 grand off F-150s, and 14 grand off Silverados. Bring us your offer. Guaranteed lowest pricing on all models at ptlavaca.com. Think pink at ptlavaca.com.
There's more than just ice cream in a carton of Bluebell. Picnics and birthdays and welcome home signs. Over 100 years of fond childhood memories. Clear country mornings and a summer sunrise. One taste and you can't help but wonder how Bluebell gets so many good things in a carton that size.
Wrangler Championship Week on Fox Sports Southwest. We turn up the coverage as high school teams from across the state start their trek to Arlington. Plus, relive big gridiron moments with classic games. It's Wrangler Championship Week, brought to you in part by Cavender's.
Long live being comfortable in your own saddle. Long live being tough enough to handle anything. Introducing Premium Performance Advanced Comfort Cowboy Cut Jeans. 2 times longer lasting and made to move with you, so you can move like a champion. New Advanced Comfort from Wrangler. Long live Cowboys.
If it's high school football, it's on Fox Sports Southwest. We're your home for comprehensive coverage every game night. Get all the Texas high school football scores and highlights from across the board live on Fox Sports Southwest.
Hard work and dedication are just two of the attributes that championship teams are built on. The band now reminds everyone that these are what we see week in and week out from our sand crabs. This is El Campeon. Now we present the award-winning Calhoun High School Sand Dance. Officers for the Sand Dance are Captain Caitlin Rice, Co-Captain Kaylin Willis, Senior Lieutenant Cassie Lindo, Junior Lieutenant Brianna Whitney, and Mercedes Kalachek. Sophomore Lieutenant Kaylee Ortega. Last week's Sand Dance of the Week was Adrian Pinckney. This week's Sand Dance of the Week is Melissa Rodriguez. Sand Dance will perform a ladder dance to Jimi Hendrix classic Fire. Sandats are under the direction of Miss Joey Gregory and Miss Leather Hall. And now, out of your seat and on your feet to root the Sand Crabs on to victory. Drive safely, and it's a great day to be a Sand Crab fan, so go Crabs!
And now, introducing the national award-winning Brenham Bells Dance Team. The Bells are under the direction of May Kosher. Officers are Major Casey Josman, Captain Samantha Lindsay, First Lieutenant Bonnie Stewart, Second Lieutenant Kara Benke. Social officers are Meg Johns, Ellison Coleman, Brooke Loosman, Addison Schramm. Please enjoy the Bells perform a kick routine to Run, Run, Rudolph. Brenham Cub Band. The band is under the direction of drum majors J.C. Burlitz, Zach Markheiser, and Jameis Williams. The band will feature the color guard of Imagine Dragons' hit song, Radioactive.
Back inside Reliance Stadium here at the half again. I'm Brett Dolan with Jeff Powers. An entertaining game until maybe the last couple of minutes. A 35-14 Brenham lead at the half. Let's talk about how Brenham got their advantage. to a 21-14 mark. It was a deadly combination of their quarterback Caleb Hill and their running back Ernest Patterson.
Hey, it was that balanced offensive attack that we talked about. Caleb Hill looked really good in the early going where he did actually overthrow a couple passes, but he got that straightened out. His offensive line was fantastic. They were able to move the ball on the ground. Brenham looked really good offensively. The Sand Crabs got off to a slow start, but they kind of battled their way back into it in the second quarter. They started moving the ball on the ground.
Yeah, they got to within 21-14. They had the football back. It looked like maybe momentum was on their side, and then everything went south.
Yeah, turnovers will kill you. In fact, before the game, Glenn West, the head coach of Brenham, told us turnovers would be the key, and there was no question about it. His team took advantage of the turnovers. In fact, in that second quarter with 3 minutes to play, a 21-14 game, Calhoun with the ball, a chance to tie it up, fumble, back-to-back touchdowns, and that will just do in any team, no question about it. As you know, when you get a turnover that late in the game, that's what will happen. And look at the play right here. And a lot of times you don't want your player to scoop it up and take it into the end zone, but in this case, Johnny on the spot there, Braden Baird taking it into the end zone for the touchdown, and that was a good-looking play. And then this right here, when we were talking about taking a knee, yeah, that's why you want to take a knee in that situation. And there's Lockett into the end zone for the touchdown. Desmond Lockett with a great first half. Quite a few tackles in the early going and then getting the touchdown late. And, you know, you go from a game where it's a 7-point game going to the locker room, now it's 35-14. So the Sand Crabs are going to have to battle back, and they only run the football, so we'll see if they can get back in it.
Yeah, that's the tough part about their offense. Certainly it works a lot better when they're able to be ahead and extinguish some of the clock. But now down 3 touchdowns, they're going to have to find a way to score and score quickly. But they even fumbled on the last play of the first half, so they had a devil of a time within the last 5 minutes just holding on to the football.
Yeah, 4 turnovers in that last 5 minutes, and that is hard to overcome. If you're in that locker room right now, I don't think there's any question. Coach Whitaker is just telling his team, hey, look, you know what? This is a 7-point game if we don't turn it over. Let's get back to what we were doing. Stay focused. Keep the ball on the ground. We'll be fine. That's what they need. They don't need to panic. They're not a pass-oriented team. They need to keep doing what they do, which is run the ball, except hold on to it.
All right, final thought. Brenham, they love to go to the air, and again, you mentioned some of the tosses that Hill maybe led his receivers too far. Also was able to convert some touchdown passes. With this lead, do they maintain that air game? Do they try and keep the balance, or do they get a little conservative and maybe run some clock?
I would run it with Patterson. They've got a big offensive line. Patterson runs the ball well in that backfield. I would keep it on the ground and maintain that lead. They're up by 3 touchdowns. They've got a good defense. I think that would be the plan if I was Glenn West.
And 2 quarters away from playing in a state championship game next week in Arlington, the Brenham Cubs lead the Sand Crabs by a score of 35-14 at the half. We'll come back and kick things off in the third quarter in a moment on the Legacy Sports Network.
Car buying has never been easier in booming Port Lavaca. Just go to ptlavaca.com and get the lowest price on hundreds of in-stock vehicles. We discount them more than anyone else, and the pink plates you see all over town prove it. It's insanity! Think pink pricing like 12 grand off all 2013 Rams, 12 grand off F-150s, and 14 grand off Silverados. Bring us your offer. Guaranteed lowest pricing on all models at ptlavaca.com. Think pink at ptlavaca.com.
That was quick.
This was you. You've been trying to get me to eat egg whites for years. You went and talked to McDonald's?
Oh, an Egg White Delight McMuffin.
Oh, I knew it.
The new Egg White Delight McMuffin. Freshly grilled egg whites and creamy white cheddar. Also available on any of your favorites. It's another new way to love McDonald's.
This is good.
Yeah, it's better than good.
Do you remember my latte?
Oh, yeah. But it's in the car.
That's good.
Our broadcast is driven by Port Lavaca Auto Group. What a deal. Our title sponsor here this afternoon. Also brought to you by Searchers Realty. Searchers Realty, located on Highway 290 between Brenham and Chapel Hill at the entrance to Bluebonnet Hills subdivision, is a proud supporter of the Brenham Cubs. And by the Barbie Boutique, where too much of a good thing can be wonderful. Bluebell Ice Cream is a proud sponsor of our halftime show. Great to have them along. And by Russell Kane Real Estate. Come for a weekend, stay for a lifetime. And there's the Sand Crabs trying to generate that momentum and certainly some excitement, and why not? I mean, you're still 2 quarters away from a state championship game. Certainly the work, though, will require a little more from the Port Lavaca squad than from Brenham.
Yeah, Calhoun had 158 yards rushing to just 62 for Brenham, but Brenham really beat him through the air with 147 yards, passing to just 24 for Calhoun. That not being a shock because Calhoun only threw the ball 1 time. It was a 24-yard pass. But when you look at the totals, 209 to 172, it's really not about the offenses. It's really about the turnovers. You take away those 3 turnovers, 2 of which were immediately turned into touchdowns, and it's a 7-point game, no question about it. That's what Calhoun's going to be preaching to their players right now. Stay focused. We're back in this game if we play our football. If you're Brenham, hey, take care of business. Run the football well. Play good, strong defense. You're up by 21 points. You maintain that lead. You're headed to AT&T Stadium next week to play in Jerry World.
You know, it's rare for a team to get to a state championship game without playing their best football late in the year. I know you're 15 games in. Teams deal with injuries. Last week, though, the Cubs defeated George Ranch in impressive fashion, 35-6. They lead 35-14 here at the half, and they're going to get the football to start the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, and that's what you want if you're Brenham. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of a role reversal if Brenham goes into more of a running style to try to eat up some clock and maintain that lead. They can certainly do it. They have a good, strong ground game. And their quarterback, I mean, use some play action at times if you can. But I don't think necessarily you abandon the game plan. I just think you realize you're up 35-14 and take what the defense will give you. And if you can run it, do it.
One thing we saw in that Texas City game was the 5- and 6-yard dink and dunk passes worked to perfection. Curious to see if maybe they might go to some of that as well.
It's safer, no question.
Short kick to start our 3rd quarter. Cortland Sutton able to try and get to the corner. Cortland Sutton with a big play. Inside the Sand Crabs 30. And boy, Port Lavaca Calhoun did not need that to start the 3rd.
Yeah, big play right there by Cortland Sutton using his blockers. And one of the reasons why you kick the ball kind of short and high like that is to avoid something like that. And Sutton doing a nice job of kind of weaving through the traffic. Watch how he uses his blockers, and a good block downfield there by Patterson. And then he just takes it to the outside all the way down to the 36, or check that, 26-yard line.
Tremendous field position for Brenham. So Caleb Hill is the junior quarterback, the left-hander. Will give to Patterson. Patterson stays on his feet inside the 16. So he'll turn out a gain of 10+ and pick up a Brenham 1st down.
And if you're Brenham, I mean, scoring a touchdown right here, that's like putting the gas pedal to the floor. I mean, you'd be up 42-14. Then you will definitely see a running formation from Brenham the rest of the half. So this is key. And if you're Port Lavaca Calhoun, absolutely got to keep them out of the end zone.
Sand Crabs defense needs a turnover of their own. Just 30 seconds into our 3rd quarter, their backs are against the wall, not only in score, but in what the Cubs are trying to accomplish here on their 1st drive. Ernest Patterson. Ernest Patterson to the end zone. Touchdown, Brenham.
Well, that was just what the doctor ordered, keeping the ball on the ground. Patterson picking up the big yardage to the outside. You asked me earlier if you thought that would be a good combination in the 2nd half. There you go. No question about it. He's your bell cow in that backfield. He runs the ball well to the outside and using his blockers well, sprinting into the end zone for a touchdown. And wow, just like that, 41-14.
Patterson so close now to the Brenham single-season rushing record. What he's done is given his team a 41-14 lead, make it 42-14 with the extra point from TN Pham. Less than a minute into our 3rd, the Cubs have added to their lead.
Car buying has never been easier in booming Port Lavaca. Just go to ptlavaca.com and get the lowest price on hundreds of in-stock vehicles. We discount them more than anyone else, and the pink plates you see all over town prove it. It's insanity! Think pink pricing like 12 grand off all 2013 Rams, 12 grand off F-150s, and 14 grand off Silverados. Bring us your offer. Guaranteed lowest pricing on all models at ptlavaca.com. Think pink at ptlavaca.com.
There's more than just ice cream in a carton of Bluebell. Picnics and birthdays and welcome home signs. Over 100 years of fond childhood memories. Clear country mornings and a summer sunrise. One taste and you can't help but wonder how Bluebell gets so many good things in a carton that size.
Yes, returns the kickoff to about the 37, where the Sand Crabs will get it for the first time here in the second half, but down 7 more points than they were at the break.
If you're Port Lavaca Calhoun, the key is really try to stay within yourself. They run the football, that's what they do. Mix things up the best way you can and just try to score touchdowns as quickly as you possibly can. Let's not forget, they have scored a lot of points this season. They can do it. There's no question about it. They can do it. But will they do it against this Brenham Cup defense? That was what remains to be seen.
Not a big margin for error. Smithwick able to stay on his feet immediately, but dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That's a loss of 1, so not a good beginning.
You know, in about a 4-week span there, they beat Victoria East 76-55. They beat Beeville Veterans 63-21. Victoria West 62-21, and then Gregory Portland 60-7. But they need better plays than that right there if they want to get back into this game.
Desmond Lockett again on the tackle. Number 15 in that green jersey has been everywhere, including the end zone. 2nd and 11. There's Velasquez. Cubs trying to string out the play, and they're able to do so after a very limited game. Dion Earls, one of those corners slash safeties that have been so busy today trying to string out that option game.
And you know what, if you're Brenham, you're okay with a long drive taking off a lot of time off the clock if it's Calhoun. Of course, you'd want to get a 3 and out if you can, but long drives aren't necessarily what Calhoun needs right now. They need to score pretty quickly.
An important 3rd and 6. About 6 men in the box for the Cubs, and Williams will get a yard, but Desmond Lockett was on top of him. Down below around the ankles was Eric Yeager. It's 4th down. Now what do you do, Coach?
Well, I think you go for it if you're Calhoun. I mean, you're down 42-14. Let's call it what it is. The ball's near midfield. I don't think they have a very strong punting game, so I think you go for it here and take your chances. You need to pick up about 4 or 5 yards. Best place situation for them. Get the ball to the man who can get you some yardage right there, Williams.
4th down 4. Huge sequence early in our 3rd quarter. Williams able to jump over a tackler. Did Lockett keep him shy of the marker? He may have gotten it by a half a yard. You saw the football pop loose, but the play was already blown dead. But Corey Williams went airborne to propel him towards that line to gain.
Yeah, good awareness right there. Williams taking the handoff, following the lead block there, and does a nice job of lunging forward for that 1st down. That's what he needed. Exactly the yardage that he picked up was exactly how much he needed. Got to know where that 1st down marker is. Nice job by Williams.
Indeed. So for all that, a fresh set of downs for the Sand Crabs. Still shy at midfield. Still going with this power running game. It's Smithwick just trying to find a hole, and that's a pretty good job to get 3 or 4 yards on what could have been a negative play when it started. And Smithwick slow to get up.
Now you want to follow those big guards. That's where the size is for the Sand Crabs. And, you know, let's call it what it is. The Brenham defensive line, they've had a nice game. They've really kind of plugged up the middle. You take away the one really nice long run by Williams of 93 yards, and they've done a good job of keeping the Sand Crabs in check.
Doing a real nice job for that matter.
It's 166 yards rushing right now for the Sand Crabs. So like I said, you take away 93, and that's pretty manageable.
Smithwick was assisted to the sideline. So that's one of their weapons for the time being, not in this game. See if Bourne becomes more active. He'll pitch again, this time to Velasquez, and Desmond Lockett one more time. Covered about 30 yards laterally to come up and make that play again.
Yeah, great looking play right there, and that's the idea. You want to try to keep those chains moving if you can, but it'll bring up an interesting 3rd and 5 situation here for the Sand Crabs, and obviously they need a first down, but the enemy for them is the clock.
Back to Desmond Lockett, listed at just 5'8", 165 pounds. He has to be up over double figures in tackles. He's had a touchdown. He's almost kind of a rover right now, more of a linebacker.
He does it all.
Bourne will keep. Bourne was near the marker, and the second effort will make things very close again. I think he's shy, but it's going to be less than a half a yard, if that.
And if you're Calhoun, you go forward again here. It's going to be about a yard, looks like, and maybe a little less. So give it back to Williams again. I mean, right now you got to keep the chains moving. I know if you're Port Lavaca Calhoun, you want to score quickly, but you know, you got to score somehow. And this is the way they do it.
It doesn't matter to them. They won't be picky if they can find the result they need. Talon Shepard asking for some noise from the Cubs sideline. 4th and 1. And a pitch. It's J.C. Garcia. I believe that's his first carry today, and it's a big one. He'll pick up the first down. Again, he lost the football, but after he had touched his knee. So J.C. Garcia had just 6 carries all year, but he's needed because of the injury to Smithwick.
What I liked about this play, look, Brenham gets a lot of pursuit up the middle. Great call by Calhoun to get it to the outside. They realize that they're not getting the push they need up front, but Garcia picking up the first down from the outside. Hey, take what the defense will give you. If you can get it out there, go for it.
One of the situations where the Brenham defense would probably like to be off the field, but they're watching that clock tick away, and they're leading 42-14. Another pitch play. Garcia again, just competing for yards and doing a better job than that. He lost the football again, but he was out of bounds, and J.C. Garcia back-to-back carries.
Yeah, and the Brenham defense here, I mean, if they come out of this, let's look ahead and see, okay, if Port Lavaca Calhoun scores a touchdown here, but there's only a minute left in the 3rd quarter, that's a victory for Brenham in a game where they're up at that point would be 42-21. I mean, that's what you're looking for. String out these plays. You're okay with giving them a couple yards here and there. Let that clock run.
And I'm not convinced the Sand Crabs can hold on to the football.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Corey Williams, gang tackled. Baird was there along with Yeager. Corey Williams came into the game with well over 2,000 yards on the season. A guy who last year injured his knee in the 7th game of the season, missed the rest of the year. He's been healthy all season. He's put up big numbers, but the yards, other than that huge 93-yard scamper, have been tough to come by.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, again, only about 90 yards rushing if you take away that play. So the Cubs have done a great job, especially up in the middle. And here's another situation, 3rd and short.
3rd and manageable. Nifty move by Bourne. He was able to make Lockett miss, slide by him, and gain the first down. Lockett was trying for another big play and a tackle for a loss. This is where Bourne's size, to me, and his shiftiness with his feet pays dividends for the Sand Crabs offense.
Yeah, he's got great size. He's like another fullback in that backfield. He's got such good size, big, strong legs, hard to bring down.
1st and 10. Just a purge into the line.
Yeah, I would think maybe a little play action would be in order. Maybe a quick strike. Try to see if you can catch Brenham sleeping back there in the secondary. They've only thrown the ball once the entire game, and it was a completion. Let's keep that in mind.
Just the element of the possibility of a pass, though, can change the way defenders go about their business.
Sure. Keep them thinking. I mean, they have 1 for 1 for 24 yards. I mean, why not go 2 for 2?
4.5 minutes to go in our 3rd. Sand Crabs with the football, but trailing. Pitch to Garcia to the corner. Well, he's able to get to that out-of-bounds marker and then just turn up for a few extra.
Well, you know, Darrell Royal once said, dance with who brung you. Port Lavaca Calhoun likes to run the ball. And, of course, 3 things happen when you pass. Darrell said that, you know, 2 of them are bad. There's an interception and a drop pass. So this is what the Sand Crabs do. But when you run the ball this much, you can use some play action and work out of that to throw the ball downfield. we'll see.
Troy Ross, the receiver to the right. Well, he's been a lonely guy today.
Yes.
He just runs to the huddle and runs back. Bourne will keep. Bourne stays on his feet. Down to the 1. Strong physical run from the quarterback.
Yeah, good piece of running right there. Just bounces off the defenders. You see he's got big, strong legs, strong shoulders as well. You know, if he just hangs onto the football, which is what he's doing in this drive, they've been effective with him running the football.
I liked it when he's kept the football. Trademark Smith there saved a touchdown, but it sets up a 1st and goal for the Sandcrabs from the 1. Bourne will try and keep, but he was dropped almost immediately, and Desmond Lockett again.
Yeah, Lockett in on so many different plays. And a couple of these big linemen for Brenham down low there, 56, Talon Shepard. You know, they're going up against some big boys on the other side. You see here that Port Lavaca Calhoun offensive line. They've got some size. They average about 300 up front when you take away the center. 270 if you include him. Of course, he's a part of that, so we'll include him. But, hey, 270-pound average, that's pretty big for high school players.
Yes, it is. So 2nd and goal. Corey Williams goes airborne, and he lands in the end zone. Touchdown, Sandcrabs.
Williams with that celebration right there, almost as if to say, let's just keep pounding the rock. It's what we do. We'll see if we can get back into this game one way or another. And I know Sandcrab fans have seen a lot of that throughout the year here. Touchdowns here by Williams.
Fernando Alvarez Rodriguez on to try the extra point from the hold of Trevino. And that provides point number 21 for Port Lavaca Calhoun. 2:51 remains in our 3rd. Cubs will get the football when we come back.
High fly to left. It's up. It's deep. And it's going to be gone.
Legacy Sports Network brings you high-quality HD video broadcasted by the best in the business.
Handoff. Adam Taylor lunges to the end zone. Touchdown.
This is one of the most exciting things.
With all the runs, hits, scores, and more, we're building a legacy one game at a time.
I appreciate it, Gerald. You guys at Legacy do an unbelievable job.
Join us on pay-per-view or video live streaming your favorite high school and college athletics at LegacySportsNetwork.com.
Legacy Sports Network is going to be bringing this presentation to your home.
(42-21). Brenham with the lead, and they'll get the football as we near the 2.5-minute mark of our 3rd quarter.
Well, and the great equalizer in football is turnovers. The 4 fumbles have certainly cost the Sandcrabs, but one way to get back in it is to force some turnovers. They need to make some hits, try to strip the ball away when they can. It's pretty obvious their offense can score touchdowns, but it's going to take them a good 4 or 5 minutes to do it. They're methodical.
This kick is going to land, going to be up for grabs. And just nothing going on for Walter Thomas.
You know, Walter Thomas also plays some quarterback. In fact, they got a play they use with him. They called it the Wild Cub, where they'll have both quarterbacks out there on the field at the same time. And I think that works out pretty well from them. Anytime you have 2 quarterbacks that have played a lot in the season, get them both out there when you can, because they both can be used effectively in that situation.
Not seen as much of Thomas under center, but I would imagine when we get later in the game, some of these running situations, we may. They'll work from the pistol here in a 3 wide receiver set. And no surprise, Patterson the carry. Ernest Patterson getting some big holes, and he runs forward for a gain of 13.
Yeah, if you're the Sand Crabs, no excuse right there. You know they're going to run the football. You got to find a way to make that stop. There was a big hole right there on the left side. You can see a nice job by the Brenham offensive line blocking for Patterson, who picks up the first down and moves the chains all the way out to the 36.
This was a Cubs team that was in the state semis in 2005, finalists in 2002 and 2009. A win would allow them to tie the 2002-2005 Cubs team for the most wins, 13-1, entering play today. Patterson up near the 40. He's got to probably have that record by now, and if he does, got to congratulate Ernest Patterson. Cleveland Franklin in 1972 is the previous owner of this record. He played at Baylor, then of course 5 seasons in the NFL for the Philadelphia Eagles and Baltimore Colts.
Yeah, the running game has been a staple for Brenham for many years. Of course, they're just located just out of the greater Houston area along Highway 290, Bluebell country. Glad to have Bluebell Ice Cream along as one of our sponsors today. Had a feeling they'd be a part of this.
Had to be. 2nd and 6. We're going to see a lot of Ernest Patterson. That time, though, the Sand Crabs were ready for him. Nothing available. It was Gabriel Cesares, the senior defensive tackle, nose tackle. Dropped him for maybe a loss of 1.
So 3rd down now, key situation here for both teams. Pivotal play in the game. I'm thinking right now, I'm doing the math in my head. Okay, if you're the Sand Crabs, you've got to find a way to get 3 and outs, 3 consecutive 3 and outs, and you need to score in less than about 3 to 4 minutes each drive. I mean, this is like a NASCAR situation. Yeah. You're like timing it out like that. It's like mileage, gas, fuel.
Because you're right, the math is not in their favor. You almost have to sell out, maybe gamble a little bit defensively.
Strip the ball.
This is where Hill is dangerous. Look at there, up top, Travante Johnson to the house. 61 yards and a backbreaker of a touchdown for the Cubs.
Absolutely. Catch them off guard on a what looked like an obvious running situation, and they go up top with the deep pass. And I tell you, once again, that play's kind of been there all day long. Johnson had a good 2 or 3 yard step on his defender, and he catches this one in stride. What a pass by Caleb Hill.
Mentioned he had a broken wrist earlier this year, 3 touchdowns all season. He's had 2 today. So an impressive afternoon for Travante Johnson. And the extra point from Pham is good. So if the math did not work out well for the Sand Crabs before, the task has become that much more difficult. 37 seconds to play in our 3rd quarter.
Car buying has never been easier in booming Port Lavaca. Just go to ptlavaca.com and get the lowest price on hundreds of in-stock vehicles. We discount them more than anyone else, and the pink plates you see all over town prove it. It's insanity! Think pink pricing like 12 grand off all 2013 Rams, 12 grand off F-150s, and 14 grand off Silverados. Bring us your offer. Guaranteed lowest pricing on all models at ptlavaca.com. Think pink at ptlavaca.com.
Our broadcast is driven by Port Lavaca Auto Group. What a deal. Title sponsor here today. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors that make this broadcast possible, including Russell Kane Real Estate. Come for a weekend, stay for a lifetime. "36 seconds remains here in our 3rd quarter. A nice kickoff. Back to the 5-yard line for Jones. Raheem Jones won't even reach the 20.
You know, Brenham has just made the plays, no question about it. Big pass plays. They've been able to force a couple of turnovers that were instantly turned into touchdowns. I mean, it's all about big plays, turnovers, things like that. When you get into a game that involves 2 teams that are 13-1, they're playing for a right to play in the state championship. They're equally matched, but in their own sort of way. And if you're Brenham right now, you've just made more plays.
made more plays, and I think you pointed it out. There were a couple of chances for Hill to have the deep ball, just missed. He hit Johnson in stride in that previous drive to really put the Sand Crabs behind the 8 ball. Bourne will keep. Boy, he needs to hold on to that ball, and he's dropped across the 20. But going back to what the Cubs have done through the air, Coach West said there's no question that Caleb Hill, what he's found through the air, has added a new dimension to our offense. He said, and the greatest thing of all, he can get way better. And I think we've seen that process even over the course of this game, the confidence that comes with leading a good team and the ability to know that if you complete those big strikes downfield, I mean, they take the air out of the sails of an opposing team.
Yeah, that was just a killer play. I mean, 3rd and short, everyone in the building's thinking
End of the third quarter.
Long pass, touchdown.
3 quarters down. The Brenham Cubs 1 quarter away from a trip in the state championship game.
Championship week on Fox Sports Southwest. We turn up the coverage as high school teams from across the state start their trek to Arlington. Plus, relive big gridiron moments with classic games. It's Wrangler Championship week, brought to you in part by Cavender's.
Long live being comfortable in your own saddle. Long live being tough enough to handle anything. Introducing premium performance, advanced comfort cowboy cut jeans. 2 times longer lasting. And made to move with you. So you can move like a champion. New advanced comfort from Wrangler. Long live Cowboys.
If it's high school football, it's on Fox Sports Southwest. We're your home for comprehensive coverage every game night. Get all the Texas high school football scores and highlights from across the state. High School Scoreboard Live on Fox Sports Southwest.
That was quick.
This was you. You've been trying to get me to eat egg whites for years. You went and talked to McDonald's?
Oh, an egg white delight McMuffin.
Oh, I knew it.
The new Egg White Delight McMuffin. Freshly grilled egg whites and creamy white cheddar. Also available on any of your favorites. It's another new way to love McDonald's.
This is good.
Yeah, it's better than good.
Do you remember my latte?
Oh, yeah. But it's in the car.
That's good.
Hunter Bourne had a short carry to begin our 4th quarter. And you see the task ahead of Calhoun, down 49-21.
And it is a task. A little play action here. They got 2 receivers to the near side this time.
On 3rd and 8. Bourne going downfield, looking for his brother. And it's incomplete. On coverage was Malik Wilson. Intended for Cameron Bourne.
Yeah, you see that a lot on teams that make runs. You see a lot of siblings. You see an opportunity to play alongside your brother who maybe he's a sophomore and you're a senior. It's the last chance to play together. It's always good to see, especially when we're on the big stage. You're playing at a place like Reliance Stadium. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Making a lot of memories, and I thought Coach West in the pregame show today had a great line. He said 17 and 18-year-olds can be heroes when you play in a building like this, on a stage, a venue.
And he's had some heroes through the years. Of course, Malcolm Brown, an offensive tackle over at the University of Texas now, played here with the Brenham Cubs.
Boy, now they have to punt. Corey Williams on to punt, and then they're going to have to burn a timeout to set up a punt.
Calhoun. Woo. That's their first charge timeout of the half.
Not sure I would have taken that timeout.
You know, one thing about Brenham, they come onto the field, come out to the stadium in their green blazers, and they show up in those Kelly green ties, and that's the look. This is something that goes back to the days of Brownwood when Glenn West played there. He was on that 1978 Brownwood team. Tim Erline was a sophomore of that team. He is now the offensive coordinator for Brenham, and Craig Agnew was a senior on that 78 Brownwood state title team, and of course he is the defensive coordinator for Brenham. So it's a nice look. The Brenham Lions wear that maroon coat and the maroon tie. Brenham wears the Kelly green blazer with that green tie as well. It's a good look, and it's a tradition, and that's what you like to see in Texas high school football, the traditions that make this fun.
Almost looked like the 1960s New York Jets coming out the bus.
Joe Namath.
I didn't see Joe Willie.
No.
Corey Williams to kick. one of his better kicks of the day, and there's nobody back for Brenham. They're not even going to risk a fumble or any issue. They'll just let that ball roll and chew up a little more clock, and it'll be down right there at the 35 with and even 11 minutes to go for a berth in the state championship game next week at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Are you a fan of hosting all those state championship games at that venue in the same site?
You know, yes and no. As a media member, I could maybe be a little selfish and say I like having them all in one venue because it's easier to cover all the different games. And it is easier for the fans to get to one location, but I understand why the folks here in Houston would like to have it at Reliance Stadium, or maybe have it move occasionally to the Alamo Dome in San Antonio and keep it moving around that triangle, if you will, of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, San Antonio, and Houston areas.
Yeah, 3 great venues, and in fact, a lot of these teams have had a chance to play in at least 2 of the 3, and maybe 3 of the 3 if they advance next week. There's Ernest Patterson running. Wow. With conviction today. He took a pop at the end, but picked up 9 on the play.
I noticed both of these teams, the Sand Crabs, they have their name, the Sand Crabs, on the back of their jersey there. And, of course, Brenham puts Brenham on the back of their jerseys. It's all about the team with these 2 squads. I mean, they don't put the individual names on there because they want these players thinking about team and team only. And the big pop right there, a good hit on the play on the defensive side by Calhoun's Taylor Lee.
Of course, if we want to be selfish from a media standpoint, we'd like to have those names on the back of the jerseys just as we enjoy having all the games at one venue in Dallas. Well, we understand the concept. 2nd and short, and this is what the Cubs would like to have the rest of the game. Ernest Patterson, a lot of green in front of him. Ernest Patterson inside the 40. We talk about Coach West having a chance with this win and another win to have a state championship, 200 in his career. How about Ernest Patterson, a chance to set the franchise or the school record and earn a trip to the championship game in one big day?
Oh, and no question about it. I mean, this is a huge step for Brenham to reach the state championship game. I mean, the last 3 years, they were either knocked out in the first round or the second round of the postseason. And you know, people in Brenham were starting to wonder, what's going on here? How come we can't seem to get past this first and second round? They wanted to see more about like what was happening in 2009 when they reached the state championship, and looks like it's going to happen today. They're going to make it to the finals.
Ernest Patterson's going to get the pigskin a lot here in the second half, and even on a short gain, he'll keep the clock rolling as we will go inside 9.5 minutes and keep this Sand Crab defense on the field. They've spent a lengthy amount of time out there today.
And you know what could be interesting is what if they match up with Aledo again, huh? I think there is a possibility of that. But Brenham, one of these teams where year in and year out, they've always got good star players. They play at that 4A level, but they're the only team in town, if you will, and it's a pretty good-sized city to have that. You know, you see that a lot with like maybe Abilene and different cities that are, you know, right around that same size.
Patterson carries again, and I'm with you. I think that's one of the special aspects of high school football when you are the big game in town. And you compare that to even a Katy team. Katy was kind of out on the extreme of the Houston area, but the suburbs and the growth just caught it. But it still has that small town feel. But you're right, you get out to a Brenham or some of the other communities, and they are the only game in town, and they are the big fish in the small pond.
Yeah, and I think most of the people in Brenham would tell you that they wouldn't mind a rematch with Aledo, and that team has been so impressive all year long. The last time they played, I remember, you know, obviously Jonathan Gray has had his moments with Aledo, and Brenham is one of those teams where, you know, that would be the ultimate challenge for them to take on a team that's averaging about, what, 50 points a game?
Boy, I love these matchups this late in the year with all the stats and the dominance these teams have enjoyed. Hill up top again. In stride, Cortland Sutton into the end zone. Touchdown, Brenham Cubs.
What a beautiful pass right there by Caleb Hill. And Sutton just hauling it in stride, both hands, kind of a Willie Mays over your shoulder kind of catch. But Caleb Hill, I tell you, the 2 or 3 times he's had to throw the ball in the second half, he has been right on the money. Look at that pass. Perfect. You made a remark earlier, Joe Namath. How about it? Right there.
Well, it keeps those feet moving, gets rid of the football quickly. Here's an extra point try from Pham. It is true. 56-21. Brenham with the lead.
The time is now for live video highlights of your school's march to excellence.
News sets up inside of the pitch. High fly to left. It's up, it's deep, and it's going to be gone!
Legacy Sports Network brings you high-quality HD video broadcasted by the best in the business.
Handoff, Adam Taylor lunges to the end zone, touchdown!
This is one of the most exciting things.
With all the runs, hits, scores, and more, we're building a legacy one game at a time.
I appreciate it, Gerald. You guys at Legacy do an unbelievable job.
Join us on pay-per-view or video live streaming your favorite high school and college athletics at LegacySportsNetwork.com.
Legacy Sports Network is going to be bringing this presentation to your home.
Indoor football doubleheader today at Reliance Stadium. Birth of the state championship game on the line. Sand Crabs to get the football back. Brenham has done such a good job defensively and even on special teams. A little better return there, but still even shy of the 30-yard line, and not much available for Raheem Jones.
If you're both teams right here, it becomes a pride thing. You're out there trying to make play after play, and coaches always preach about, hey, just worry about the next play. That's all you can worry about. The game's out of hand. We know Brenham's going to win. They're up 56-21 with 8:38 to play. But can you make a play out there? Can you just continue to make a big highlight type play after play after play? Who knows? If you keep that in mind, you never know what could happen.
Over pursuit by the Brenham defense. It enables Velasquez to avoid a collision at the point of handoff. And he scampers up to the 35.
How did Velasquez get out of that? He went into a wall and somehow came through it. Must have been some sheetrock.
That option can get those defenders thinking from time to time,
Sure.
maybe even pursuing past the football.
Standing right next to you and they don't even know you have the ball.
That was the fun aspect of that last play. 2nd and 4 here. And dropped immediately was by Borm. He just had not even an opportunity to hand off before he was dropped by Neil Mathis.
And that's becoming a common theme. I tell you, the defensive tackles for Brenham, they're pumped up out there. You see them kind of talking it up a little bit. They have been sensational. They've really done a nice job of plugging up the middle. Talon Shepard most notably. They are getting a good pass rush right up the middle. And hey, you can wreak havoc on the quarterback when you're in his face in a matter of a second.
And the Sand Crabs have had way too many 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 6 here. Little pitch sweep. J.C. Garcia a couple of times on 3rd downs. The third back has come into the game and provided a lift, and he's out of bounds at the 49, and he'll move the sticks.
Yeah, 49-yard line. That will continue to move the clock, though. That's the enemy right now, as he didn't get out of bounds.
(56-21), Brenham with the lead. They've led throughout. It was a couple of scoops and scores on back-to-back plays by the Brenham defense at the end of the first half that gave them a huge advantage.
Yeah, Glenn West told us before the game that it would come down to turnovers, and it certainly did. There was a span there with 3 minutes to play in the first half where this game got broken wide open by the Brenham defense.
And you see more pursuit by the Cubs defense. That's Ryan Nunn. They've been everywhere today, thwarting what has been the most prolific rushing offensive team in the country.
And that's what you want. I mean, if you're headed to the state championship game and you can run the football and you have balance and you can throw it through the air and your defense is standing up and playing the way they know they can, who knows? I mean, they were there in 2009 against Aledo. It could happen again.
Second down, 8 to go. And that play blown dead.
There really hasn't been too many penalties in the game, but some of the stats, we'll get to those in just a moment here after the call.
Prior to the snap, False start, offense, number 7, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Brenham has 242 yards passing, 135 on the ground for 376 total yards. Meanwhile, Calhoun's got 241 yards rushing. We expected that. 24 yards passing. They've only thrown the ball once, I believe, for 265 total. But the Sand Crabs are a run first, run second, run third kind of team, and Brenham has done a nice job of kind of plugging up the middle of the field and keeping them out of the end zone here, especially in the second half.
And a 2nd and 13 play, and the Brenham defense rises up again all day. Those defensive tackles have been in the backfield. Talon Shepard has been active along with Desmond Lockett. They have been leading the charge for the boys in green and white.
Yeah, look at the play here. Again, right up the middle. Shepard just wreaking havoc, dropping the quarterback down and lets him know, hey, I've been in the backfield all day long. It's been fun back here. It's green on green.
Cubs had scored 5 defensive touchdowns all year. They've jumped that number up to 7 with the 2 scoops and scores. But Caleb Hill, their quarterback's been outstanding. Running back Ernest Patterson has set a school single-season rushing record. And more defense. That might be, well, they're going to call it an incomplete pass. That might have been an opportunity for a 3rd defensive score had that been a fumble instead of an incompletion. Ryan Nunn was running to the sideline, and his coaching staff telling him, go cover that football just in case.
Yeah, because the question
quarterback was under contact. By rule, all passes are forward passes. Incomplete pass, 3rd down.
And again, our Houston chapter, the Texas Association of Sports Officials, doing a nice job of explaining it. Mike Young there. And he's right. I mean, in that situation, a heads-up play by the Sand Crabs quarterback just to go ahead and get rid of it and avoid the yardage loss by Hunter Bourne. So note that, quarterbacks out there. You can do that.
Just
it's okay.
fling it. Just get rid of it.
When you're in the grass. Of course, it's risky. That falls into the category of don't try this at home, right?
Well, how about Calhoun punting on 4th and 17?
Well, I mean, 56-21, 6:06 to play. Hard to argue.
Corey Williams, a 2,000-yard rusher and a touchdown machine, has been almost as active punting the football today as he has running it, even though this is a great kick.
Yeah,
that'll bound inside the 10, inside the 5. It'll be touched and down at the 3.
So there you go. Take note, college coaches. He can run the football well, and he can punt it with the best of them. You gotta love 4A football when you're, hey, he doesn't play both ways. He plays 3 ways.
And look at the handshakes and high fives for the Brenham defense. Last week, they demolished an undefeated team on an amazing roll, the George Ranch Longhorns, by a 35-6 score. Meanwhile, Port Lavaca Calhoun, they had some small wins in the postseason, but they flexed their muscle last week as well, which set up this matchup, which we anticipated really being a difference in styles and offenses. But 2 very good teams, but it has been too much Brenham Cubs this afternoon at Reliance Stadium.
I think these 2 teams got tired of the very close games that they had in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, and both of them really opened it up in last week's victories.
Walter Thomas is in now as the quarterback, more of a running QB. He'll just turn and hand to Patterson. He'll rumble for a gain of 8 on 1st down.
Yeah, just of note, to get to this point, Calhoun defeated Floresville by 1 point, 35-34, and then they defeated Flower Bluff 27-21, beat a great Cedar Park team, the defending champs, 28-27, and then beat Alamo Heights 45-22. Meanwhile, Brenham to get here defeated Eastview by 5 points, 35-30, beat Dayton by a point, 31-30, beat Texas City in a wild game, 37-34, and then over George Ranch, as you had mentioned earlier, Brett, by 29, 35-6. So this game, not really indicative of the last 4 games, but I tell you, Brenham, they got to feel pretty good about heading to the state title game up in Jerry World at AT&T Stadium next week.
Trying to run off the remaining 5 minutes. Ernest Patterson just keeps running into the record books. He'll pick up the 1st down. He's out to the 20.
6-man football going on today over at AT&T Stadium, and then they'll, of course, have 11-man football, and that all gets started Thursday morning at 10 a.m. I got a chance to see Shiner last night. They were playing in Reeves Athletic Complex in the Round Rock ISD. Shiner won that game. They're making their 4th state championship appearance. They're 2-1 in state title games. They beat Mart, and Mart was favored in that game by 20 points, and Shiner just took it to them.
Boy, busy weekend coming up in Arlington and the Dallas area with all the high school championship games. Great time of the year, isn't it?
It is. It's a great time. It's a great time to watch football. The weather, it's been very good this weekend compared to the last couple.
Michael Adams with his first carry today. So now the second team are starting to get some activity and their opportunity to play in a state semifinal game.
And play at Reliance Stadium, no less. I mean, how about that? You're on this beautiful artificial surface out here, playing in front of one of the biggest crowds you'll ever play in front of. Of course, a lot of fans making the trek here along 290 from Brenham. Great crowd here from Port Lavaca as the Calhoun Sand Crabs, a very formidable foe. They have been a very strong team the last 3 to 4 years. Did have the loss early in the season to Cal Allen, bounced back with 13 straight wins. You know, Brenham, on the other hand, this is a team that they have just really come into their own under Caleb Hill at quarterback. They are a balanced attack, and now they're getting a chance to bring in their backup quarterback, who's also done a lot for them this year as well.
It's like a delay of game from Walter Thomas.
Prior to the snap, delay, offense, number 19, 5-yard penalty.
Coach West has been around long enough to know teams mature and get stronger and better over the course of a season. But if you would have told him after their first game where they scored 7 points and they lost to Foster 10-7, they'd be in the state championship game, I don't know if he would have believed you. He would have gladly taken that invitation.
Well, I think, you know, Port Lavaca Calhoun, too, they lost their first game 48-0 to Cal Allen, then didn't look back ever since. I mean, 13 straight wins after that.
Another chance for Adams to carry. All new offensive line also came in a couple of plays ago. As we're inside 3.5 minutes to play. Brenham scored first. They had a couple of 2 touchdown advantages in the first half, but it was a 21-14 lead in the second quarter. Calhoun got the football back, and that's when their back-to-back fumbles took place. The scoops and scores, Baird and Lockett, giving Brenham a lift in a big lead.
And what a turnaround. I mean, no question. Calhoun had the ball with 3 minutes to play in the first half and a chance to tie it up, and then just like that, 3 fumbles, 2 of them touchdowns for Brenham. That was definitely the turning point of the game.
And then Brenham got the football to start the third quarter. They scored even before the Sand Crabs could touch it.
Yeah, that's what you call putting the hammer down. When you've got the enemy down, you got to keep them down. You don't want to give them any life. You don't want them thinking there's a chance they can come back. You know, a lot of coaches get the call real quick here, and then we'll elaborate.
Well, conference.
He was trying to give me some chance to talk there.
He's trying.
There's no foul for delay of game. There is our offside defense with contact, number 64, 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
I was going to say, coaches out there like Tim Buchanan, for example, at Aledo, fine job this year. Caught some flack early in the season, even a possible lawsuit about bullying. That is not the case. I know Tim very well. That is a coach who's got a great squad. They are undefeated for a reason. But the thing is, when you get a second and third string team out there, they're going to still play very hard. This is their one chance to get out there and play. Why wouldn't you want them to play as hard as they possibly can? They're trying to make an impression.
And right now, Thomas just trying to milk as much of the play clock as he can before he snaps the football in a 3rd and 1. Adams will have the first down, and then he's thrown down at about the 34, and that'll milk a few more minutes off the clock. And the Brenham Cubs, if they aren't celebrating already, they can really start to gear things up here in the stands and think ahead to Arlington next Saturday.
Sure. You know, another team that's punched their ticket kind of along those same lines were Furio. That's another team that scores a lot of points on people, but they want their players playing in that third quarter because too many times they get to the state championship level and they don't feel like their players have enough experience. They haven't played a full 4 quarters. So you want those guys to feel what it's like to at least play 3 quarters, you know, before you take those starters out.
They played here Thursday night at Reliance Stadium, a busy weekend in this building.
Had an impressive win. They're headed back to AT&T Stadium.
Put up some points on Thursday.
He has a great
Private
quarterback.
Snap. Offside. Defense. Number 50. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Well, things getting a bit sloppy here in the last few minutes with a lot of the reserves playing.
You know, you mentioned earlier J.J. Watt kind of giving the salute and taking some pictures with some of the players here with both teams. And Brenham, most notably, one of their players scoring a touchdown. I think it was Lockett, and he kind of gave the salute back to J.J. Of course, the Texans on their way up to Indianapolis trying to break their skid. But nonetheless, what a showing for Brenham today. Very impressive, especially here in the second half. But the turning point was that last 3 minutes of the second quarter, and they're going to win pretty handily here today.
In the victory formation now as Walter Thomas will take a knee. Katy Tigers will be involved in the 4 o'clock game. It can be seen here on FoxSportsSouthwest.com. And keep in mind, they've won more games at Reliance Stadium than the Texans have this year. For that matter, the Brenham Cubs have won as many games as the Texans, and they're beginning to celebrate a berth in the state championship game. 1:07 remaining.
Yeah, Katy will take on Johnson today, and it's not named after Lyndon Baines Johnson. That's Lady Bird Johnson, and they've been saying Lady Luck down there in the Alamo City. That team
I like it.
Upset Cibolo Steel last week. They've had some huge upsets this year, and hey, don't count them out. I know a lot of people around here think Katy's going to walk all over Johnson, but I'm here to tell you, I've seen that squad. They are good. Watch out.
Lady Luck. One more snap for the Brenham Cubs. Walter Thomas will take another knee.
So Glenn West, hugs abound on that sideline. I see Tim Erline, their offensive coordinator, Craig Agnew, the defensive coordinator. They are very pleased. They know there's the head coach, Glenn West. What a win for him. Milestone victories for Brenham around.
199 wins for Glenn West. He can go for an even 200 in his career in a state championship game next week. Hats off to the Brenham Cubs. Coach West still doesn't care for some of the celebration. He wants his guys up and shaking hands. But what a game. 56-21. Brenham over Calhoun here at Reliance Stadium.
Fantastic season here for Calhoun as well. Nothing to hang their heads about. They'd won 13 straight games since that opening season loss to Cal Allen. But it is the day for the Cubs of Brenham. Big victory for them. And they are headed to the state championship game, and they'll find out who their opponent is later today.
Our postgame brought to you by Barbie Boutique. No matter what your style, we've got something fun for you. And we're hoping to hear from a player here at our postgame show. As you see the handshake line. We'll take a break and come back to Reliance Stadium. Brenham with the win.
Week on Fox Sports Southwest. We turn up the coverage as high school teams from across the state start their trek to Arlington. Plus, relive big gridiron moments with classic games. It's Wrangler Championship Week, brought to you in part by Cavender's.
Long live being comfortable in your own saddle. Long live being tough enough to handle anything. Introducing premium performance, advanced comfort cowboy cut jeans. 2 times longer lasting and made to move with you, so you can move like a champion. New advanced comfort from Wrangler. Long live Cowboys.
If it's high school football, it's on Fox Sports Southwest. We're your home for comprehensive coverage every game night. Get all the Texas high school football scores and highlights from across the state. High School Scoreboard Live on Fox Sports Southwest.
Car buying has never been easier in booming Port Lavaca. Just go to PTLavaca.com and get the lowest price on hundreds of in-stock vehicles. We discount them more than anyone else, and the pink plates you see all over town prove it. It's insanity! Think pink pricing like 12 grand off all 2013 Rams, 12 grand off F-150s, and 14 grand off Silverados. Bring us your offer. Guaranteed lowest pricing on all models at PTLavaca.com. Think pink at PTLavaca.com.
Barbie Boutique. Postgame show brought to you by the Barbie Boutique. No matter what your style, we've got something fun for you. Let's go down to Jay Darnielle.
Hey guys, joined by Caleb Hill. 4 touchdown passes. Unbelievable night.
Yeah, my line did a great job giving me plenty of time to throw. I was under pressure a couple times, but overall they did a great job. Receivers were running routes hard. Kept running even though I overshot them a couple times early, but they kept running. They brought me back up even though I was frustrated. They were there for me. It was a good game. Was that kind of the plan? Because you did have about 3 or 4 overthrows early in the ball game, and then you seemed to kind of underthrow them a little bit, let them catch up to it. Is that what you did? Y'all talk about it? Well, we had seen on film that we had a height differential down the field, so we were going to try to take shots. You know, the semifinals, take shots down the field, and, you know, good things happen. And I overshot him a couple times, but my line, everybody on the team, you're like, hey, you're all right, you're going to get it. And sure enough, I did in the second.
And now, last question here. Just talk about you're going to the state championship game. What exactly does that mean to you?
That means a lot. If you'd have told me last year when I was at a little 2A school that I'd be at Brenham with a great team, with great coaches going to state, I'd slap you in the face. So this is amazing. I love this team, and we got one more week to play football.
Hey, you played an unbelievable game, 4 touchdowns, like I said. Congratulations. We'll see you next week at AT&T Stadium.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Guys, back up to you.
All right, thanks, Jay. And Caleb Hill, what a game he had. There's a lot of heroes today for the Brenham Cubs, but he was very high on that list.
Yeah, I was just jotting down some of the stats. 405 yards of total offense for Brenham. That was the key. 242 through the air for Caleb Hill. And what a balanced attack they had, especially in the second half. He was overthrowing some receivers in the first half, got that corrected at halftime, made some big pass plays in the second half. And I think they only threw it about 4 or 5 times in the second half, but every time they did, it was a big play.
Yeah, good receivers and accurate quarterback in the second half. Before we talk about their defense, which was also outstanding, how about Ernest Patterson? We talked about balance. Well, to get balance, you have to be able to run and throw, and they did that this afternoon.
Yeah, Ernest Patterson, he kind of led that ground game for Brenham. That's a rushing attack that, I tell you, whoever their opponent is better be aware of what they can do, because they definitely have a lot of balance. 123 yards on the ground for them. So they can get it done in the air, they can get it done on the ground, and that is tough for our defenses.
And they played good defense today, because we toyed with the fact that Calhoun leading the nation in rushing. The numbers they were putting up all season long, pretty eye-popping. They get 21 points today, but it just felt like the Brenham defense shut down that option play and dictated the pace by which we were going to play today.
You know, they got a lot of pursuit up the middle. They kept wreaking havoc on the quarterback for Calhoun. By the time he turned around to hand it off, there was someone in his face. He saw a lot of Kelly Green jersey right there in front of him.
And, of course, we talked about the back-to-back scoop and scores. Brandon Baird had the first, Desmond Lockett the second, and Lockett was a name we called 12, 13, 14 times in this game.
Wow, he gets my vote for defensive player of the game, and I think Caleb Hill is your offensive player of the game, with Patterson maybe a close second.
Well, enjoy game 2. We've had a fun game 1, but Katie and Johnson will be a nice nightcap this afternoon.
Yeah, no question. That is going to be a lot of fun. Gary Joseph will have Katie ready to go, but hey, look out for Johnson. I'm telling you, that team's better than a lot of people think. They're here for a reason. We'll have that one right here on FoxSportsSouthwest.com.
Well, for Jeff Powers and Jay Darneal, I'm Brett Dolan and our entire Legacy Sports Network crew. We bid adieu for the time being. Again, the final in game 1. It was Brenham advancing to the state championship game with a 56-21 win over Calhoun.